I'm your host, Great Tate, here at the GT Radio Podcast. Go Talk. To the right of me, to you guys' right, I have Mr. Matty Ice here, a current coach in high school football, a savant in football, dabbles in basketball, and a little drizzle in baseball. Good knowledge. Also, a WWE fan. Oh, yeah. Shout out Cena, baby. Below me, I have Mr. Solomon. And Solomon is an 18-year baseball experience for the collegiate level, 2 at the D1 level, and first team All-American, first team All-Conference, pursuing an MBA in sports entertainment, all-around sports nerd, specializing in controversial takes. 6 episodes in, we haven't seen many of those. Residential diehard sports Boston fan. To my corner, to Solomon's right, below Mr. Matty Ice, we have Cam Pickup Trucks, to be exact. Cam is a 21 years of football experience, pro, Canadian Football League, and the D1 level, third team All-AAC, business owner of the Cam Pickup Trucks. Shout out Cam Pickup Trucks. And he is a father, devoted and loving father. Gentlemen, I feel like we got a lot to discuss today. We might have some people jumping in and out. Today is the end of the week, so the debate winner of the week will get their little piece of change, if you will. Right now, Cam has 2 and Kingo has 1. Matt, you have 1 from yesterday, and that's going to be our number totals for right now. Plenty of episodes to, plenty of things to discuss. We got a mic from Mr. Cam. I got a camera from Mr. Cam. Let's see. I'm looking at these right now, and I don't know if I want to make sure I'm reading out the right angles. Okay, right here. All right. So, number 1. Let's start with this. Pistons versus the refs. Pistons took on the Oklahoma City Thunder yesterday. SGA had 48. Man, oh man, looked pretty good. That's a lot of points. But he had another game of double-digit free throws. What y'all's calling that? Today, let's with us 4, we can have a mutual conversation on debate topics. We'll do the 30-30-30 and then come in. So, open floor. You guys go at it.
I mean, it's just another good performance by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Just be able to score on all 3 levels. And let's make it a 4th level when you go at the free throw line. Hey, you can't hate the player when he's the one getting the calls and just getting the job done. So at the end of the day, the biggest result is the 113-107 win for Oklahoma City. Now, obviously, we're going to get into it, but the third quarter of the game was very interesting. I think it was a telltale of how the rest of the game was going to go when it comes to the Pistons versus the referees. 5 technical fouls in the third quarter and 2 on Cade Cunningham, which he got ejected from the game. Those are just huge losses, and even JB Biggerstaff after the game just talking about, that's the style they like to play. They want to play physical and everything, but it doesn't help how the refs want to be so against them and help people who are flopping. And I did see a video of a couple of fouls where SGA was wrapping around his arm around the defender, pulling him to right before he goes up. So you can see a lot of frustrations, but now it's just going to be, what are the refs going to do after this? Is it something that they're going to move on, just say it never happened, or is it going to be something that they're going to have sit down hey, this is a legit issue, let's figure out something, especially when we go to the playoffs?
I think something that needs to be discussed is OKC's been getting a lot of heat on fouls, and Celtics Nation was pretty pissed about it. But you want to go and look at that game, the foul count was 20 fouls for OKC against 21 for the Detroit Pistons. If you want to look at SGA, he went to the line 10 times. It was 10 for 10 from the free throw line. That's 10 points. He scored 38 points away from the free throw line. He was 17 of 26 from the floor. It's not like it was a crazy disadvantage for the Pistons or the Thunder. I get the frustrations and I get the trying to get into the game. And I didn't see what Cunningham got ejected for, but it's like SGA what his game is. He's gonna he's gonna get into the paint. He's gonna try to score, but like let's not create this narrative like the refs are out on OKC's side. I mean, it was even calls on both sides. If you take away the flagrant fouls, it is literally 20 fouls, 21 fouls on both sides of the floor. I think it's just the fact that OKC when the other team gets in the bonus, OKC is just a little bit smarter about the fouls that they actually take.
To follow off this, so I'm glad you mentioned the orange thing because that's something I was gonna mention. Um, I feel like when you look at that and say with the foul thing that it doesn't affect the game, I slightly disagree. Only because, yeah, if you take away the 10 points, they still have the lead, correct? But then also, if you think that a dude getting to the line 10 times, literally, it affects the way you guard the man because now you're like, oh, I literally can't get anywhere by him. And the thing is, not only is Shea a good foul baiter, but he's also an amazing dribbler. So it's not like he can't dribble or he sucks or something. He just gets fouled and that's how he gets all his points. No, he's actually very, very gifted with the ball in his hand. So on top of him also getting these calls to where he is grabbing and foul baiting you, is very frustrating. So yeah, you take away those 10 points, you still have 38, and they still win. But then you also got to factor in how he's guarded and how team and how just going to the free throw line even that much from one player and the others added in. And like you said, that one game it was 21-21 on free throw line. But if you go look at it, OKC does usually win the free throw count in the game, but you also got to count and factor in they drive the most too. They're not like a big 3-point team. So win-win there, but we also got to give Shea his credit. I mean, one of the best shooting guard ever, Mr. Jordan. He shot a lot of free throws too. People forget that, and it wasn't called foul baiting. You know what I mean? So you just got to take it how it is. I mean, this is a guy that you got to be overly aggressive on, or he's gonna kill you. But being overly aggressive is he's gonna kill you at the line. So it's like it's a win-win. I think he perfected the game, the offensive game.
What SGA's game is. I mean, he was 4 from 6 from 3 points, right? So there's 12 points right there. But you go look
Yeah.
at the Pistons box score. The leading scorer was Tobias Harris. He had 18 points. Their next highest totals were guys off the bench, with Dennis Schroeder had 17 and Malik Beasley had 15. Cunningham,
Yeah.
who you expect to have a night every night, 11 points. Tim Hardaway Jr. had 11 points. Durant had 8 points. Asar Thompson had 8 points. So it's like, sure, did the fouls play a factor? Yeah, but you're starting 5. Only one of them really showed up. And yeah, Cunningham gets ejected in the third quarter. But like, he played 29 minutes before he got ejected and only had 11
Yeah.
points.
Yeah,
So,
and I
like,
think that's my fault. I don't think I was really talking about them picking on that Detroit game like I was supposed to, like, which was the topic. Like I supposed to. Hey, they were gonna lose that game either way. Them guys already were coming in. Well, let me not say that. They were
I mean,
off
it finished
anyway.
6 points. It was a 13,
Yeah, that's what I said. Look, let
113,
me not say
107.
that because that's the thing about Detroit. They're not a team. When you look at it, Kate Cunningham and everything, he does not have to score a lot of points every night. Somehow, some way, this team is a down and gritty team, and if they're not able to be what one of their biggest strengths, which is strength, which is being gritty, physical team, and not overly physical, where it's not considered basketball anymore, just physical, getting your face, getting to you, a type of basketball. They're not good. You know what I mean? So I can feel that frustration, but at the same time, besides those couple little calls that we seen where he was grabbing on, I don't think Shea is as bad as we make it.
Absolutely. So I feel like the Detroit Pistons are one of those teams. There's two different types of not ready yet. You have a team like last year, for instance, the Oklahoma City Thunder just needed a little bit more time, right? Maybe one more year, maybe 2 more years, and they're a for real threat. But we knew last year they're just not ready yet. Then we had last year looking at the Orlando Magic, where they're just missing one more piece, or they're just missing just a little tweak of how they're running the offense. Look at Orlando Magic today versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. That was a fantastic game. That reminded me of that 7-game series they played last year, which was, I feel like, the Magic lost that series, not Cleveland winning that series. Looking at the game today, the Magic snapped the 16-game win streak of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they snapped their little losing streak and kind of halt the playoff standings in their favor. Are the Magic a better chance of getting to the second round than the Pistons right now, or what are y'all thinking? Because the Pistons are 6/500, and Orlando is not so much. But Orlando's been playing with a lot of injuries recently.
Are we talking about second round past the play-ins? Or are we talking like once the play-ins are over, we're talking second round?
Yeah. So good question. Take the play-ins out. I think everybody thinks Orlando's a lock for play-ins. So once we're 1 through 8, right, going into that first round. Right? Who goes further? Are they both out the first round? Can one of them sneak? Or I mean, because obviously they will be playing someone pretty high. You know,
is Magic healthy? Are you going to say Magic will be a fully healthy team?
They look healthy now.
If Magic get all their guys back, they might be a bigger threat. Well, they are a bigger threat than the Pistons, just because they got experience from last year. Pistons don't have any experience. The talent factor is about the same. You both got a guy, which their guy's Cade. The other person's guy is Paolo. Then you got your next man up. I think Orlando next man up is better, which is Fran Wagner, how you say it? Franz. Yeah, Franz is nasty. But also his brother is too. So I'm saying, if we get Mo back, who gives you those nasty 18 to 20 minutes of a rebound and defense and a good 12 to 14 points.
I think
Magic got it, man.
I think the key issue here is assuming that the current standings is how it all plays out, where the Hawks get the 7th and the Magic get the 8th. Yeah, Magic took a game off the Cavs, but we've all said that the Cavs are going to the Eastern Conference Finals, which means that Magic are bounced in the first round. We've all said the Knicks go, right? And that means that's the Pistons are playing the Knicks in the first round, right? So, like, if you want to put it, if the standings are the way they are, going in after the play-ins, right? Anything could happen in the play-ins, obviously. Hawks generally play really well in the play-ins. They somehow find a way to get in that first round, right? I think the other 3 seeds are up for a toss-up. Miami, for whatever reason, is always a pain in the ass in the Eastern Conference Final. They always find a way. But assuming that the top 8 stays the way it is going through play-ins, right? Magic get the unlucky pull of the Cavs, right? Not that they can't match up against them. I just don't think that they have the ability to take 4 games off them in a 7-game stint. Whereas I would probably say the Pistons, not that it's any easier for the Pistons against the Knicks, because assuming that the Knicks somehow magically figure it out, I think the Knicks roster is better on paper than the Pistons are. It's just whether that the Knicks are going to rise to the occasion, but I think the Pistons probably have a better chance to make it to the second round than the Magic do. Full strength or not, it's tough to pull the Cavs round 1.
I mean, exactly what Solomon says, depending on if the playoffs start today. And even if Magic got lucky and got the 2 seed, that's against the Celtics. So even then, that's not a great matchup for them. So they would have to figure out a way to get out the play, which is probably a little too late for that at this point. No. But Detroit, though, especially when you think about them going against the Knicks, that's one of those that's a highlight for a potential upset. Because you usually have 1 or 2 of them a year where it's like, oh, this team should obviously win, but they lose to the lower seeded team. And Detroit has everything that the Knicks hate. Just being gritty. They're going to try to push Jalen Brunson around, make him get off his game. And then Cat, he's going to have to play real big. And the Pistons have some boys over there that will make it a rough time for him, especially with Isaiah Stewart just bumping him up a little bit. So, right now when it comes to like your question is who will go to the second round, I think the Pistons. But if somehow the seeds change, the Magic go on a streak, and they both go play and go Cavs, Celtics have to go, both of them have to go against one of them, then I would give it to probably Orlando.
Corey, anything you want to say on top of that?
No, not really. Like, I agree with Matt, really. Like, I haven't been able to watch a lot of basketball right now, but I gotta say, like, with everybody being hurt and a lot of people being hurt and stuff, like, you don't know. Nobody really knows what's gonna happen. I feel like it's just gonna be a surprise. I feel like somebody's gonna show up to play. It's gonna be one of those, like, type of games. It's gonna be like who's gonna show up and who's not. Honestly. Like, that's how I've been kind of looking at it lately. Like, I feel like who's going to show up, who's going to come the ball out, who wants that trophy, who wants to play, who wants to get that check.
Yeah, so looking at the standings, in the East, what do you say, Solomon?
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Pistons currently have a 5-game lead on a play-in spot currently, and if you want to compare the Pistons and the Magic, they honestly have probably equally solid strength of schedule if you're talking about just balance between really bad opponents and pretty solid opponents. Pistons have a 3-game stretch. The last 3 games, they play 2 against Milwaukee, and I think they play 1 against Boston. So I mean that's just a tough way to end. If you're in a 1-game gap between a play-in spot and not, it's not the stretch that you want to get down. They need to get those games early here. But I think really, if you're looking at if you're looking at 9 and 10 here, right, in the Eastern Conference, Miami has lost 7 in a row, and we haven't talked about the Raptors all season long, right? They do now have Brandon Ingram. I don't know when the fuck he's going to play again. He may not even play again the rest of this year. I have no idea. But they're on a 3-game win streak, and if Miami keeps playing like this, that's only 5 games between the Raptors and the Heat, right? 4 games between the Raptors and the Bulls. And, like, you could somehow see Toronto sneaking in. Does Toronto want to sneak in? I don't really think so. I think they really want to tank. But they could just end up playing themselves into a play-in spot. Miami's in a tough spot. They traded away a lot of their players. I mean, you traded away Jimmy. You got Wiggins on the other end, but I don't think Wiggins is really someone you're going to build your organization around. Like, he's a really good piece into a winning team, but not really someone that you want to develop around. Tyler Hero has to backpack that team. You need Bam to, like, play like a god, and usually if you get Bam in the playoffs, he does play like a god, but, like, they're missing some key pieces there, and I think that 7-game skid is kind of like the results of what you're seeing from there. I think the Pistons have a pretty good chance of staying in the 6th seed. They could definitely leap Indiana, and you're talking about Indiana possibly playing a play-in spot. I mean, it's not a lock between 5 and 8. I think the Hawks and the Magic have a really tough road to try to avoid the play-ins, but I think Pistons, Pacers, they win out. If they can get their games ahead now and they can get that cushion before they get the back end of their schedule or the last week of their schedule, I mean, they're looking really good.
Yeah, so good points on the schedule. I feel like, let's be honest here, how it's currently constructed is probably how it's going to end in terms of matchups. That's just the political matchups that everyone would like to see. Everyone would like to see Milwaukee versus Indiana because no one wants to see Indiana and Milwaukee in the second round. That's not going to sell tickets. Everyone wants to see New York playing against the easiest of the 3, which is the easiest of the 3 being the Pistons. Everybody wants to see New York going to the second round. That's where the money's at. Everyone wants to give New York a chance to say, well, there's a possible chance they can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Oh, my God, because that's their Super Bowl. Eastern Conference Finals, not the finals, Eastern Conference Finals. Boston and Cleveland are light years ahead, and we're not speaking on the Western Conference, we're speaking on the Eastern Conference to where 3 to about 7 is 3 to 7 is about and then 1 to 2 are way higher, and then 8 to about 13 are lottery or maybe playoffs, right? The 9 and 10 spot was for the West. That was never for the East. Okay, let's be honest. Okay, Miami, a 7-game losing streak, 13-game win streak. There's no chance they're winning in the first round. There's no chance they're winning any of that. No one's going to watch Miami versus Chicago. That's a joke. People from Miami and Chicago are probably not going to watch Miami versus Chicago. Brandon Ingram's probably not playing the rest of the year. That was probably the worst rolled ankle I've ever seen in my life in terms of time missed. Because I don't understand. I don't know. And he signed an extension, so we'll see. Speaking of that, though, in terms of the grit of the Pistons and the kind of misfortune of the trade of Jimmy Butler taking away all the mojo from Miami and injuries, let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks, shall we? Man, oh man. They found a way to win. Kinda? Kinda? I feel like
5 of the Sixers.
Every single game that I've seen, it's like they're kind of like fighting, if you will. Close. They're not getting blown out, but they're like right there. It's kind of like they just have like a superstar or something. I don't know. Just a number 77. If they had something like that on their team, the record would be a lot different from 2-8 in their last 10, right? So
I heard there might be a guy in Real Madrid that might be coming to the NBA pretty soon.
Go for it.
I gotta admit something. Nico was terrible, terrible, and very idiotic for what he did. But seeing this roster and how you just said somehow they end games still, with a Kyrie, a Anthony Davis, a Derek Lively, Gafford, a healthy Dante. Where this team might not be as bad as we thought they would be. I'm not gonna lie, they will probably be no real threat. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, just because I love Kyrie. They both they just would need one more extra scorer.
I mean, the whole thing when it comes to the Mavericks, it was never that, oh, are they a good team? The whole thing with the getting to a trade was giving away their future. Because you had someone who's again, like, he wanted to come back to the Mavs, have them for another 10 years. But now the issue is the game with Anthony Davis, his only game he's played for Dallas Mavericks. Is that the last time that this whole team is going to be together? Kyrie, he could walk. He might have played his last game as a Dallas Maverick, shooting a free throw with his injury. Then Anthony Davis can potentially get traded. Like, Nico Harrison is just on a horrific run right now as a GM, as every move he's been making is horrible, because you even got someone like Quentin Grimes. They got this offseason, traded him to the 76ers for Caleb Martin, and he's over there averaging 20 points a night, while Caleb Martin's averaging 2 points for us. So, no one's going to be able to tell me right now that we're making all these moves to win. Because, yeah, Anthony Davis, he helps win. I'm not going to say he doesn't if he was healthy. But I feel like at some point they knew something was going to go wrong with Anthony Davis, Kyrie. And then trading away again Quentin Grimes, who is a 25, 26 years old, young player, gets better every single year. Just something's going on in Dallas. Like, that's at the top of management, personally.
I mean, it's the amount of injuries that a team faces. It's like you trade Luka, and it's like they just got cursed immediately. Like, it's just the most bizarre thing of all time. But like, really, if you look at it, like, Dallas has always struggled with injuries. Like, even when Luka was there and Kyrie was there, like, at what point are we like, forget the front office? What are we gonna look at the training staff? Like, what are we doing? To get ready for games? Like, what is it on the players? Is it what we're doing as a development staff? As like, how do we keep our players healthy? Like, at what point are we going to look inward? Because, like, sure, Luka's gone, fine, but then everybody else proceeded to like drop like flies, right? Obviously, Kyrie freak accident, blows out his ACL, sure, right? AD's always had injury problems, but then everybody else on this Mavericks roster got hurt, right? Luka's always struggled with some type of injury. Kyrie's always had something going on, right? They're not as day-to-day as often as AD was or is in his career, but like, they've always struggled with some type of injury throughout the years. And it's like, at some point, all right, what are we doing as a training staff, whether it's strength and conditioning, whether it's our trainers who handle our day-to-day knocks, like, what are we not doing well enough to keep our team healthy, right? Because there's no way that an NBA team that has money like this is experiencing an issue this drastic. Like, I don't know, I saw a post on Twitter, I don't know if it was or X, I don't know if it was troll or not, but like, they're holding open tryouts, right? That's the type of situation that they're in, right? And I don't know if it's troll or not, but like, if that's true, like, what, like, when's the last time that's ever happened in the NBA?
I mean, if you look past this year, I don't see where we've had just so much more injuries compared to other teams. Because you can look at the 76ers, you can say the same thing about them.
No, wait, I'm sorry. There's like 4 teams who have a complete, like, I'm talking about a Bible worth of roster of injuries, and then the rest of the league that has substantially less. Comparing the Mavericks to the 76ers is abysmal. Like, that's embarrassing for that to be the first team you say. I mean, you talk about Joel Embiid and Paul George, like, that's horrible. So, like, can you find another team to try to compare it? Because the Sevens, that's not the team. That's another injury plagued team.
Well, I'm saying not besides this year. I'm just saying over time, like multiple seasons. Like, yeah, Mavericks have their fair share of injuries and everything, but every single team goes through some injuries at a point. LeBron has to sit multiple games out a year. So it's not like I think it's just a true, like, oh, there's an injury concern in Dallas. Even though, like, there's been years with Kristaps Porzingis, like, Like those were like I could say those ones, but as a whole team, like even Luka, he would sit some time out. But the whole thing with Luka was never about let's because we even when he was healthy, we would never be a top 3 seed. We were always like 5 or 6. So it's like, okay, let's just get to the playoffs and then let Luka go loose. Like, let him get some rest, be ready for playoffs. So I felt it was more about management rather than actual true injuries. Although we've had a couple, like, few injuries that might have been like a couple weeks or a month with some of our role players in the past.
I mean, we want to talk about an organization that usually has it pretty down bad. It's the fucking Grizzlies. Like the Grizzlies are probably another team that's really just gets. They got something going on over there too. I mean, I think between their star players, right before Steven Adams left, John Morant, Marcus Smart was there for a decent amount of time. Desmond Bain always has been there. Brandon Clark is another guy. Between those 4 guys alone, I think it was close to 578 games that they've lost due to injuries. 578 games, and that's over. That's a long. That's a lot. That's a fucking lot, right? Another organization you probably can look at, maybe the Pelicans. I think maybe the Pelicans, right? Generally, have always struggled. Right, that was the whole reason that Brandon Ingram got traded this year. Right, he was part of like just they're trying to figure out. They're trying to keep Zion on the floor and healthy. Right, he's finally losing weight. He's kind of going back to what Duke Zion looked like. But like they've also had a really bad issue of controlling their players and keeping them healthy on the floor. Right, I think to an extent it's on the player's responsibility to be like your job isn't just to show up, practice, and then play in the game, right? Your job extends also to what you do outside of those things and the way that you eat, the way that you work out, the outside things, right? The organization is not responsible for controlling you for do those things, but if they're going to put millions and millions of dollars into you and you're not going to take care of yourself, I think at some point they have to have a say in it. I think that was the big issue or the big concern with Luka and the front office with the Mavs, right? It was like that they didn't feel like they were going to be able to have control if he wasn't going to do the things that they were asking for him, right? And was that like his way of like trying to get out? I don't think it was, but at the end of the day, like I think the front office of the Mavs had a legit concern. I think they could have gone about it better or gotten more in return. I think for Luka at the end of the day, I think there's different moves that they could have made that have probably been a little bit more beneficial. But at some point, the players have to take responsibility for staying healthy on the court. Obviously, there's guys who have injury bugs, right? We're talking about Kristaps Porzingis, Joel Embiid. Brandon Ingra's generally been pretty healthy up until this year. Paul George has always had issues. Kawhi Leonard's another one of those guys, right? Those guys, I think, have always had the injury bug. But let's talk about the guys that that should be staying healthy that are just not doing what they're supposed to do. Like Zion Williams put on so much weight and like fucked away his first 3 years of his career because he didn't want to do the right things. And like, oh, now we're 3 years in. Like, why are we now starting to take this seriously? Like, I think the difference between some of the rising stars and the greats that are currently in the NBA and the guys that should be great on talent alone, right, is the fact that they didn't take things seriously and put in that work ethic, right? Because we all know once you get to the NBA, right, anybody on the NBA roster can ball out, right? 1 through 14, whatever the case is, right? What sets apart the greats is sure a little bit more talent, but also the amount of work that they put in to stay healthy, eat properly, and what they do in the offseason.
That is extremely true. That last little punch you made about what they do in the off season. Talk about someone who spends a lot of time in the off season, even at the club, still putting up jump shots. Let's talk about the Phoenix Suns. I mean, let's talk about. I mean, it's fair to say this could be our last time next couple of weeks seeing KD in a Phoenix Suns jersey. Obviously, they're keeping Bradley Beal, who said, "Hey, I'm enjoying ball, and they can't trade me. So what they gonna do?" Are the basketball guys? Is it the basketball? Like, what is it with the Phoenix Suns? Can someone like explain that to me?
It's not the Suns. It's the players they got. Kevin Durant's not gonna ever be your guy. Great. He's never gonna be your guy. And whatever argument or anything y'all want to say, it's out of fairness because he's never been able to be the guy without Curry. Once. It's been in the league 12 plus. It's evidence. You know, the proof is in the pudding. Kevin Durant is your number one, will not get the job done. You know what I'm saying? But he definitely can help carry you if you have another superstar to his talent. He can help carry that superstar. Yeah, just because he can shots. But Devin Booker is also.
Someone help him out. He's starting to lag out.
I think
I'll go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
But when I think of Kevin Durant, it's kind of weird to think that I think he's a player you can't build around.
Uh-oh.
Like, it's kind of weird to think about that because you think of him as one of the greatest players to ever touch basketball. And just not even just NBA, you're talking about just history of basketball, just anybody. It's just kind of weird to say, like, you could look at the early Oklahoma City teams, and again, those were just some great teams. That was great management, like some just general management work. But after that, ever since he left, he's never been a part of a team where they've been successfully able to build around him. He had to join a Golden State Warriors team that was already set. They didn't add or lose people. They weren't the biggest influences. But he did his thing there. When he got to Brooklyn, even with Kyrie and James Harden, who are some other people who are notorious about very difficult to kind of build around you in playoffs. James Harden, you can say maybe, but they couldn't get a roster done over there. We can blame Steve Nash all we want and just the Nets staff. Now we look at Phoenix. Phoenix was in the NBA Finals a few years ago. They had everything said. They took a risk to get Kevin Durant, and ever since they did that risk, their stock has plummeted. So right now, you're noticing that he's not making the team better as being the person they build around. How we talk about LeBron, about him making teams worse before he leaves, we might have to have that argument about Kevin Durant. It's just the only difference is Kevin Durant doesn't bring the championships compared to LeBron wherever he goes.
Yeah, so wait. Solomon, before you speak, I want to mention something that the Phoenix Suns were saying they wanted like 2 firsts and some for KD. And at his age, like, I mean, add that to your argument if you would like, Solomon, but like that's kind of crazy. Pending they're trying to save their franchise. I don't think there's an organization out there that can, maybe someone can help me out with that can pay that price for KD now. I don't know.
Let me real quick, Solomon. I don't mean to interrupt. I want to make my point very clear. Kevin Durant can still help a team win a championship, but he can't be going to a team that has to build around him to win a championship. We brought these teams up earlier, but potentially a Houston or even a Detroit who could be able to get him if they have the cap room, just to add, like, without having to get rid of too many young talents. I'm just saying, find a team that can let him be a scorer, but they don't lose their depth. That's a team that's going to be able to use Kevin Durant, not a team where you add all these stars and have everyone else be role players that would be in free agency.
Go ahead, Solomon.
To address like where KD could possibly move to, I think the Lakers, the Mavs would have been a really good spot for him before the Luka trade. I think if you're looking to add a piece, right, because like we're talking about a Mavs team that went to the finals last year and then decided to just blow up that project for like whatever reason, right? Imagine the situation where like if they're willing to trade Luka, then why not trade some of your first round picks, get KD, add KD, Kyrie, Luka, right? Are you a little light on defense? Sure, but like good in scoring, right? That'd be nice, right? Like you can solve it in 2 ways. You either get really good defensively when you struggle against teams in the finals, or you just try to find the most overpowered offense you possibly can and just beat people at brute force, right? But I think to the point, kind of like what you guys are touching on is like, yeah, I don't think KD's someone that you can build around, but I don't think it has anything to do with talent, right, or what he is as a player. I think it's the fact that he doesn't have that mentality or those leadership traits that like he's going to make other people around him rise to that level. I think that's why you see the issue with Bradley Beal and Devin Booker too. Those aren't those guys, right? I think there's very few guys in the NBA that you look at and like, yeah, like off talent alone, will you build around them? Yeah, because you need their talent. But in terms of like what they offer the team, that's not just in terms of skill and scoring the bucket, like LeBron is a great leader on and off the court, right? He sets the example, he raises the bar, right? I would say the same thing for a lot of the guys in Boston, right? And like it's not even just on one person. Like all of those guys make the players that come in rise to a different level, right? I think Donovan Mitchell, he's another one of those guys that raises the ceiling for his team, right? Not just in his play, but what he does for his team, right? I think Cade Cunningham can kind of get to that level eventually. I think Jimmy kind of was there, but Jimmy became too self-centered at a certain point, and it kind of really hurt the teams. I mean, you just kind of saw it in Minnesota. I think that was the big issue with his fallout in Minnesota, was that it quickly went from the team to it's all about me, right? And you've seen podcasts talking about that with I think it was Jeff T. He talks about his time there in Minnesota and how that went. But like there are players that you can build around because of who they are as a player, not just in terms of their basketball ability, but their leadership traits and the ability to get players the best out of them. Curry's another great example of that. I think Curry, like, fantastic basketball player, but he gets the most out of people just out of his leadership ability on and off the court.
Yeah, Corey said in the comments that KD ain't a GOAT. He's just one of the guys. And I'm fine. I'm fine with that conversation if you guys are fine with that conversation. But let's be honest with that conversation. We're looking at the Phoenix Suns and we're looking at 3 really good number 2s. That's fair. Okay. But where
Whoa.
Go ahead.
You can't be a GOAT if you're considered a number 2.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm saying that let's roll with that. And we're looking at 3 teams with a number 2, Devin Booker, who's probably not moving, and Bradley Beal, who absolutely is not signing that check unless it's going to exactly where he wants, which he has not disclosed anywhere he wants to go. Matt's giving me 2 teams. Solomon's giving me 1.5, but they were before the trades. The Rockets, I don't see that happening, but let's go with it. The Rockets and who did you say, Matt?
The Pistons.
The Pistons. Is there any other team where KD can go reasonably? Obviously, the Rockets are not going to give up. The Rockets sound good, but they're not. They want too much talent. They don't want picks from Houston. They want talent, and talent. Houston's not going to give that talent up. They weren't going to give it up for Giannis. Why would they give it up for KD? So, Pistons are a team. Rockets are a team. Is there anyone that can argue a different team by chance for KD next year?
Hold on. Let's do this. When it comes to the offseason, the Phoenix Suns are going to be talking a little bit less now that they see they can't get that. So it's not going to be that same requirement, I promise you, because they want to end it. So it's not going to be that same requirement. Giannis does not fit with the Houston Rockets. It's not their talent scheme. That would be nasty. I'm sorry. That's not his type of scheme. Kevin Durant is different. You can get him for less than what they were asking for, which you will be able to in the offseason because they're ready to end the ship. It's not going to go anywhere. It's nobody they can add. There's nothing they can do.
Okay, so draw something up. Draw something up for Houston.
Okay, so if I'm Houston right now and I want to get them a little package, okay, but I don't want to break up this valuable core of youngins. Hear me out. Dylan Brooks always holds value. He's gone. But he holds value. The one that's going to hurt you, I say, where you like, dang, y'all, do y'all really want to give that up? Because he looks good, but then he also has been injury prone, but he holds value, is Tari Eason. Then you give them a first to second round pick. You just gave them a young guy, a guy who can plug in. Dylan Brooks can play on any team just because he's a 3-and-D guy. You know what I mean? 3-and-D fits on anybody's roster. So you got a 3-and-D guy who's actually not bad. Like we played Dylan Brooks like he's horrible, but Dylan Brooks is a firecracker. He can really have games where he explodes. And I wish Dylan Brooks never got the injury bug for a second because in Memphis for a little bit, the guy was an offensive juggernaut for a second there. Like I promise you he was. He was like one of the guys that I thought would be special in a couple years offensively. So something like that, but I also can see him going to a team like the Pistons because the Pistons, they're playing better and they're right there on the verge of being an East playoff team, but they'll never be a threat without another guy that can score.
Yep.
I think.
So yeah,
I think a team that is tired, that won a championship, talk about 3 years ago, I think, right, and is tired of being the bottom table right now of the Eastern Conference Final. I would look at Milwaukee, right? I think Milwaukee would be willing to pay somebody to help them win, right? They made the move for Dame. That was their big splash that would put them over the edge, but then they trade away the best guard that they had, best defensive guard at the time. And I think that fucked everything up, right? I think the Bucks have a solid defensive team, right? But they've lost a little bit of scoring. Right? It really only goes through Giannis and it goes through Dame. They did acquire Kuzma, but I don't think Kuzma really puts that team over the edge. I think that's a slight upgrade, but it's not a crazy upgrade. I think the Bucks could get away with giving them 2 first rounds because they're not going to be drafting anything high. Like there's nothing that's in the upcoming drafts for the next 2 years that's going to make the Bucks like win now. They need something that's established currently in the NBA to help them win now, right? They're small in the small forward position, right? It would help them out, I think, tremendously there. I think you could do something where you can do 2 first round picks and Kyle Kuzma of the Suns, and you could have Kevin Durant, right? I think that's the one team that's okay with getting rid of their draft picks and moving past the draft and just looking to play with what they currently have in the NBA. I think they're past the development stage with that team. Like they have to start winning. Like I don't remember if Giannis signed a contract extension, but you have to do something. Like if you want Giannis to stay, and I think more than likely, about 90%, he probably will stay with the Bucks again in a contract extension. But if you keep falling short in the playoffs, Giannis is going to start demanding more, right? You have to do something more with that team. I think Kevin Durant could be a good fit, right? It gives them a little bit of scoring options, opens up that floor, makes Dame a little bit more of a threat, allows Giannis to play a little bit more freely as well. It's already hard enough to stop Giannis, right? Imagine when you have to close down KD and Giannis is one-on-one underneath the rim, right? Like it's a good combination, I think, there. It makes them a threat at a higher level in the Eastern Conference. And I think they're willing enough to part with their picks because I don't think there's anything that they'll do in the draft. I mean, you're talking about having a 20th overall or later pick in the upcoming drafts in the next 2 years with how good their team is. Like they're never going to finish lower than 5th in the Eastern Conference final by any means unless everybody gets hurt. I think it just makes the most sense for that team if we're talking about a big splash.
Yeah, the KD want to go to the Bucks. No. I think he doesn't want to go to the Bucks. But when you get traded, you can't really control that, but you can't control if you want to play for somebody or not when you're Kevin Durant. Why would I trade for if you're just going to come here and say fuck us? I mean, if you're going to say forget about us. So, but what you said works beautifully. Like you didn't put nothing together that would not work on 2K if we take out egos and everything and just do strictly off talent and scheme. 2 7-footers, one can shoot your lights out, the other one can drive you. Then you got a Dame. Then you got, if you could somehow keep Cal Kuzma, who would be a great 4th option. Oh my God. Then you got a Brook Lopez who you can pay pennies and still can give you valuable minutes. Oh my God, bro. You're right. It works. In the East, who beats them? Because you don't need Kevin Durant to be that leader no more. You got that in Giannis. That's who we're looking at to in the to push us there. You don't need me to be 36 years old next year scoring 25, 27 points like I'm doing right now because you got 2 dudes who can do it. I'm chilling, bro, until I wanted to go crazy.
No.
It makes sense on paper. If they do that, I come back and say Solomon might need to be an NBA GM.
Real quick, I got 2 more teams, but if Sauce wants to go real quick, see what his teams are.
Matt.
Here's 2 teams I was thinking about when Solomon brought up the Bucks. I was just like, what some teams that might be a little desperate that need to start getting something going. Either get something going or they're gonna have to fix stuff in the near future. One team, this one's probably a little bit of reach, but it's interesting, is the Atlanta Hawks. They got a young core. They're getting there. You can see some promise, but it takes someone to get them over the leap. That's one. But one I'm actually a little bit more interested in, especially with some of the accusations that just haven't been working out as much as they really wanted to. The Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards, he's wanting to win. He's a competitor who's doing everything he can. They have the pieces to be able to get him. Julius Randle's been very inconsistent for them. An aspect of one day he'll be really good at next day he's just like ball hog, just breaking everything. And then of course Rudy Gobert, they've always been a little iffy on him, especially with how he's been lately. So they have some pieces they could get rid of the clear cap and help out with that. And that could be a very interesting combination to give Anthony Edwards a true another scorer to help him out.
I think before Sauce goes, I'll give a little pushback on what Matt's saying there is that I think on paper those teams fit, I think probably in what they would want to do. But I think when you look at the track record of where KD goes and where he has success, he doesn't fit well in young teams ever.
That's a good counter.
There's no established leader in Minnesota, right? Like obviously your player is Ant, but he doesn't have the leadership qualities yet. He's still too young. He doesn't really make the team rise to that level. It's like you get on Ant's level just because of how he's playing, right? But it's not like he's doing shit in the locker room that's making the team rise. I mean, I could be totally off here, but like, I'm just saying that's my perception there, right? I think Julius Randle.
He's a high energy. He brings the energy.
Yeah,
I agree what you say.
And then
I see what y'all mean here. I don't see him going to any young team because the qualities, but that Minnesota thing might just be different, brother. It might be different just because you got a young cat whose idol is Kevin Durant, but this young cat, he just took you to the second round last
number
year?
one.
So Western Conference.
Yeah, so
man, this young cat.
So, and speaking of that, Minnesota's up 20 right now, and the Clippers are up 30 right now. Last night, pool party hit a 40 ball to beat the Nuggets, but let's be honest, they're not beating the Nuggets in 7, right? There's no way we'll ever see the Wizards in the playoffs within the next, maybe 2 or 3 years, but respectfully.
No. 4 to 5.
Okay. Regardless, I was being generous, right? Right now, we're going to play the first of our games tonight. We got 4 members here. I'll chime in if need be. 30 seconds. Everybody's going to get 30 seconds, all right? After that 30 seconds, you cannot cut anyone off in that 30 seconds. After the 30 seconds, I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock, and everybody in the comments and you each other are going to pick the winner. Now, the only rule that I've always said is you cannot say the exact same thing. And for this topic, you just can't say both of the same thing. You can say, well, I got Team A coming from the West, but I don't got Team B coming from the East, right? So, topic number 1. Sleepers coming out of the Western and Eastern Conference. Who do you have and why? Remember, you can go first now, but you can't go first again. And whoever goes first, you can't repeat what they say.
Are we talking sleepers to go to the finals, or are we just talking about
West, East, sleepers to the finals? That should be 2 teams that you're arguing in 30 seconds. Good luck. Who wants to go first? I'll give 15 seconds for somebody to jump out there before I just grab and go.
I mean, I'll go. For my teams, I'll go in the Western Conference. I'll go with the Houston Rockets, and in the Eastern Conference, I'll go with the Milwaukee Bucks. For the Houston Rockets, of course, they're a great balanced team and everything. They have a big man that's going to help lead them. With just a lot of young pieces, that a lot of high energy, great defense, just an overall great team. And then the Milwaukee Bucks have the 2 most dangerous players when it comes to them if they just got it going. If Damian Lillard gets it going, he's impossible to stop. And if you're going to press up on him, give Giannis all the paint in the world, their defense has been getting better. They're starting to get that consistency going a little bit.
Time.
It's
time. Next. Now remember, first ones were off were Houston and the Bucks. You can pick one or the other, but you cannot say them both. Who's next? I'll let y'all open up.
I'll take.
Go
ahead.
You go, Solomon.
I'll take the Knicks and I'll take the Nuggets. I think those are both teams that need to have things go their way. But if they're all firing on all cylinders the way that they should be, like they have a strong chance of going through the Eastern Conference Final. Nuggets have proven that they can win in championship. The Knicks have made all the right moves to win in championship. They match up well against paper. They sell well. You can have the Nuggets get in there. I think the Nuggets probably win that matchup. I think Giannis can go, or not Giannis, Joker can go out there and ball out, average triple-double in the finals, win MVP, whatever the case is.
Time. Same argument. Knicks, Nuggets are off the board. Bucks, Rockets are off the board. Who wants to go next?
So I can't say Bucks at all?
You can pick one of the teams from A or B, but you can't say them both.
Yeah, all right.
3, 2, 1.
Let's go. So my West, I'm gonna go with sadly the Golden State Warriors as the sleeper. Like I say, I give credit when credit is due. Since Jimmy Butler trade, it's 2 losses. What's that? How many wins, y'all? 17? That's very scary. Very, very scary with a lot of unknown dudes around them, but we've seen this before. But without a Jimmy Butler, only thing is
Time. Woo, you got to work on that.
I be forgetting so quick.
All right, Sauce. So we got Bucks Warriors off the board. We got Rockets versus Bucks off the board, and we got Knicks Nuggets as sleeper teams off the board. What you got? 3, 2.
For my East team, I'm gonna have to go to Orlando Magic, man. They're a young team, all right. They're a young team. I think they have a lot of potential. They do have a lot of injuries, though. I will say they have a lot of injuries there. They're currently the 8th seed in the East. They're just coming off a good game on beating the Cavaliers, and everybody knows the Cavaliers are obviously one of the best teams in the West or East. I mean, so that's a good place to start. For the West, I'm gonna have to go with the Warriors. Again, they're a sleeper. I do concur with that.
Time. I was concerned that you weren't gonna get your Western team off. All right, so Sauce, you got the Magic and the Warriors. Cam, you have the Warriors and the Bucks. Matt, you have the Bucks and the Rockets. Solomon, you have the Knicks and the Nuggets. Very interesting. All I'll say is this. What is considered a sleeper team and what is not? I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock and y'all going to dope it out. Top 2 stays, bottom 2 go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so y'all say sleeper teams for defending champs are dudes that won in the last 2 years, which are the Nuggets. That's not a sleeper. I guess you were considering sleepers as guys who are not, Kyrie, baby, calm down, who are not just big favorites right now of late talk. But those guys are not sleepers. Sleepers are guys who everybody said, yeah, these dudes, there's no way they're winning, which were the Warriors. They were literally begging for superstars just 3 weeks ago. Like, I'm talking about, please give me some change type begging for superstars. In the Bucks, were written off.
I think I'm going to contest
the Bucks can never be written off, and we know that. Like, that's
okay, hold on. Wait. I want everybody to remember.
I haven't won since I was in high school.
I want everybody to remember. There's 2 minutes on the clock. Okay, y'all are through about 37 right now. I paused it 4 seconds, so I'm cutting that 4 seconds. You have to fight each other to get your points out. Do not let this man talk for 2 minutes. I'm trying to get over. Okay, I'm gonna start this over right now. Okay, I'm gonna give that 30 seconds back. Mind you, hold on. So they can't hear you because I have you muted. Right now. I'm not saying that you have to talk over each other the whole time, but all of you are very knowledgeable people, so get your opinions off.
We can't
Do
let
not
someone
let them
speak
bully
for 40
you 2
seconds.
minutes. Yes, don't let each other. Yeah, come on. So we're gonna start over, right? Sauce, you got Warriors and the Magic. Matt, Cam, you got the Magic. You got the Warriors and the Bucks. Matt, you got the Bucks and the Rockets. Solomon, you got the Nuggets and the Knicks. Hold on. And considering of a sleeper team, what constitutes a sleeper team, and why do your 2 teams be considered the sleepers that are coming out? 3, 2, 1.
The Bucks are not a sleeper team. How are you going to sit there and say that the Bucks are a sleeper team and the Nuggets aren't, and they just won a championship? So did the freaking Bucks. We're not going to do that. We're not going to go there.
They haven't won a championship in the past 2 years.
Right? Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Tell me when the Bucks won a championship.
In the last 5 seasons,
I was in high school when
the
they
last
won.
5 seasons, have the Bucks won a championship? Yes or no? Has Giannis got a ring? Yes or no?
I graduated college and high school with
We can't do this. We can't do this.
Come on, bro. I've graduated college. I went through college and everything since they got a last ring. Come on, bro.
When talking about sleepers on the podcast, we have picked our Eastern Conference Finals and our Western Conference Finals opponents. and it
A
was
true
the Celtics,
sleeper.
and it was the
And people
Celtics and the
slept on the
Cavs,
Bucks.
and it was
People
the
have slept on the
Thunder
Bucks.
and the Lakers, right? So that means
Right.
that
So
everybody else is a sleeper,
No.
right?
Don't
well,
I'm not
my
giving everybody
my
else
a
a
true
sleeper.
sleeper would be Golden State.
Right?
Like I
Because
said,
You know what a team that no
we
one
have all
says?
agreed. We have
A
all
team
got
that no
into a
one
call.
says is the
We have all
Houston
got on the
Rockets.
podcast, and we
They're
have
playing
all
some of the
agreed
best
that
basketball.
Celtics
no,
and the
we said
Cavs
no.
would be in the
We said those
finals,
guys
or the
were our
Lakers and the
favorite.
OKC
The
would be in
Houston
the finals.
Rockets,
So
they
therefore,
have
Right.
beaten
We
everybody else
said
would
those
be a
guys
the
were
sleeper.
our
Milwaukee
favorite.
Bucks. They have
We
beaten
favorites
the
are the
Boston
people that we think are
Celtics.
going to get there.
They
That means
have
everybody
beaten
else is a
the
sleeper.
Cleveland
Because
How
if
are
a
you
team
Cavaliers.
can
Nuggets a
win,
sleeper if they're
that
That's
means
above
that
showing
you're
you
Lakers? That
that
getting
means
they're
the
up.
beating
Lakers are
teams.
sleepers.
They make it very difficult. So
I
the
just
Houston
wanted
Rockets are a
like
legit
y'all
sleeper team.
y'all
The
really are
Milwaukee
pushing this
Bucks are a
narrative,
sleeper
right?
team because this is
Sleep,
not the same
the
team that
Bucks
was
are not
4
a
years
sleeper
ago.
team. That is
Exactly.
not a
Thank you,
sleeper
Maddie.
team.
Thank you,
Chris
Maddie.
That is
Their
not
Middleton
Bucks
is
were
a
not
not
on
the
the
top
team
five
same
no
team they
more.
team.
were
Chris
Not a
Middleton is not on the
25
team
years
no
ago
more.
when I was 18 years old. This is a whole different team. Whole
A
different team.
top
The Bucks are
five
not the
team
same
in
team.
the West. I mean, in the
Curry,
Eastern
Curry is
Conference is not
almost
a
40
sleeper
now.
team.
Everybody,
That Bucks
that's
team
somebody
went
who they
against
really
Kevin
written off.
Durant on the Nets.
The Bucks
He's been off the
team
Nets for a
is
few
number
seasons now.
4 in the East. How the freak are they a sleeper? Nobody
Because they
sleep on them.
look,
Because
They
they,
are a
when,
all of
because
you
sleeper
they,
team.
guys
but look,
agreed. You all
they had a
agreed that
whole
nobody was
week
getting
with
past the
Darvin Ham
Celtics
where everybody
and the
was saying the
Cavs. You
Bucks
No,
were
all
no,
agreed
no,
that they were
no.
not getting
they
past
played
the
good
Celtics.
up until late.
That
Time.
doesn't make them
Okay.
a sleeper.
Time. So, hey, that was great. So now with your final arguments, everybody's going to get 30 seconds to go again off their take on why their take was right, and then we're going to discuss a winner. Who wants to go first? Who went first? Who went first? Matt, you're going last.
I'll start.
Go ahead, Cam.
The reason I said, like I said, my West sleeper is the Warriors, just because this was a team that has not gotten any championship talk at all this year or in the last 2 to 3 years. So, 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Completely written off. The Bucks, the same thing at the beginning of or the mid of the year because they started off okay. People were making Darvin Ham pocket jokes again. And then they start playing good as of late. That's why they're picking them as my sleeper. They're still not getting the talk that they should, but they're going to surprise people. The Warriors, you never count out a great, and 30 is a great. Jimmy Butler is a good. You know what I'm saying? He's not a great, but he's a very good.
Time. Sauce.
I just. Oh man. Okay, we can go. You ready? Are you ready?
Oh, your clock's running, bub.
Oh well, you should have said that. No, I'm joking. But I don't even want to like deep dive into certain things. Again, bottom line up front. Sleeper teams are teams that nobody expects to make a push. All right. The Bucks are not a sleeper team. They're 4 in the West or in the East. All right. Just as well as y'all saying the Nuggets. The Nuggets are their contenders. They have one. The Nuggets have the MVP runner. You know,
Time. Solomon. You ready?
disgusting.
Yeah. It's very simple. We talked about this on the podcast. We picked our Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals. Everybody was pretty unanimously across the board on who those were. As far as I'm concerned, everybody else is a sleeper. Joker can get it done by himself. The Nuggets team has not changed. They can get to the finals, right? Talk about the Knicks. Once you get to the playoffs, what happened in the regular season is a fucking wash. It doesn't matter. You just got to get there. You perform on the same level. You perform the way they should perform on paper. They can get to the finals, right? Anything can happen in the postseason. But as far as I'm concerned, talking in terms of conversation when it comes to sleepers, we already picked our Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals.
Time. Matt, final take.
All right, well, let's look at sleepers. Right now, the Houston Rockets have the 12th best odds to win an NBA championship behind every other team. The Milwaukee Bucks, let's listen to some of the teams they're at behind. They're behind the Denver Nuggets in odds. They're behind the Golden State Warriors in odds. They're behind the New York Knicks in odds. So when we're talking about underdogs, they're the underdogs because all y'all's teams are ahead of them. So they're a true underdog. Both of them, and even the Houston Rockets are the 12th best odds to make the championship. So tell me what are the better underdogs between all this listing.
Okay. Great takes, everybody. I'm gonna give 15 seconds for someone in the comments to say who won. Matt, put a deuce up real quick. Matt, put a deuce up. Saucy, put a deuce up. All right. Solomon, put a deuce up. And then Cam, put a deuce up. All right, so those are your 4. I'm waiting on someone. I want to give it. I want to see if one of the people in the. We'll see. All right, well, we got someone in the comments that said Matt won. Matt, that's one for you. That's a great take. That's a great. I think the biggest thing that got you, the biggest thing that got you was bringing up the odds. That's a great point. I want to say though, out of the four of you guys, Solomon brought up a really good point, in my opinion, where he said, and I quote, on the pod, we said that the Cavs and the Celtics were far ahead out of anyone in the East. And the OKC and the Lakers were the exact same in the West. I was talking about the Knicks a second ago, and all of you guys completely agreed that they're a joke to come out of the second round. So that is a great point, Solomon. But going off our comments, we're giving that one to Matt. So
I had to pull it off because I heard what Solomon said. I was like, I need to get the big guns.
I understand what that's being said, Great. I just don't. We have to develop a clear-cut consensus on what a sleeper is. I don't think being 4 or 5 is really, it makes you technically a sleeper. People that's getting into the play-ins that have the potential to go into the playoffs and actually make a deep run. I think that's what makes you a sleeper team. Not because
that's an underdog a sleeper. That's a totally different conversation.
Sleeper and underdog are the same thing.
And you can go from sleepers from there, maybe.
Yeah, but sleeper and underdog is the same difference, because a sleeper is somebody you're sleeping on that you're like, oh man, they're not going to win anything.
Yeah, they're like, if you're betting favorites, they would be the underdog.
Right. So a sleeper and underdog is essentially the same thing.
No, that's not necessarily true though, because you can have
man,
and you can have a sleeper.
It's like synonyms in a way,
I mean, the conversation I think is the same to an extent, but when you talk about underdog, you talk about a team that like by no means should win it. When you talk about a sleeper, it's like they can win it, but they need a lot of things to go their way, and it would be a surprise.
But that's the same thing with underdog. They need a lot of things to go their way.
An underdog is more to me like a wild card story, right? It's a team that really has no business being there, whereas a sleeper is like a team that's good.
I don't think we can't look at it like that, due to the simple fact that when we look at these NBA lines every day, somebody's the underdog, somebody's the favorite. Depending on the stature of their team, the lines vary. So again, a sleeper and an underdog are essentially the same thing at the end of the day.
I would.
So when we, that's why I said we have to get a clear consensus, because if we sat here and said, again, the Bucks are a sleeper team or an underdog team, where you're sadly misconstrued. They are
because we all agreed on the podcast together who our Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals opponents were. So that means anybody else is fair game to be a sleeper, because those would be considered upsets, right? If the Knicks beat the Celtics, it's an upset and a sleeper, right? If the Cavs lose to the Bucks, it is an upset, right? If the Lakers lose to the Grizzlies, it is an upset. They are a sleeper pick, right? Like, we picked our Eastern Conference.
But again, that's just what I'm saying. An underdog and a sleeper are the same thing. Now, the Cavs and the Celtics at being at the top of the East, yes, we all agree.
Okay, so I wanna hold on. In the comments, it says sleeper and underdog are not the same thing. Philadelphia Eagles 2017, Philadelphia Eagles 2024, possibly. We were the underdogs, but not sleepers. I'm just saying. And that's a great point. An underdog is someone who on the odds is the underdog. But don't sleep on them now. You see what I'm saying? So don't sleep on the underdogs. That's a literal term that everyone says. Right?
You can be a talented team.
I disagree.
The Knicks are a perfect example, because they're a talented team, but everybody sleeps on them because they don't beat the top half. But on paper, they are a talented fucking roster, right? Whereas an underdog has no business being in there, playing out of their depth.
That's my team with the Warriors. That's why I believe that fan who commented because they know Matty Ice. Because listen here, the Warriors have no business being there. If they win, they have no business being there.
Stop. So Cam, so we gotta understand. I want to say this again.
Last take.
The Warriors are 6 when it comes to NBA Finals odds, NBA championship odds. The Bucks are 8th or 9th. Like the Warriors have a better chance than the Bucks. Don't look at the seeding, because that's just a whole conference thing. We agreed that the top of the East is different. The top 2 in the East is different than the
No.
While the West is more balanced.
Yeah, but we're not looking at the
4th seed in the East is the same thing as a 4th seed in the West. No, some teams 6. The Warriors are competitive against the Bucks. So let's make it clear that it's not about a seeding thing. It's about What is the odds?
About the roster, right? About the roster. So here, I got you right here. Here's the roster for the Nasty State Golden Warriors. Do you know Taron Armstrong?
You muted yourself.
Yeah.
You muted yourself still.
Yeah, somebody keep trying to call me. Hold up, let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb for 2 seconds. But yeah, so do you know? Am I here?
Yeah, you're there.
Yeah, we're here.
All right. Do you know Yuri Collins? You don't. These are people who I'm saying that gets playing time. Do you know? And then Tracy Jackson Davis is becoming a nice player, so you know him. Kevin Knox haven't played since the Knicks. You don't know
Kevin Knox play. I can't speak because I watch the Warriors and I live like 20 minutes away. So
I said since the Knicks. Since the Knicks. Kevin Knox now, and what has he done with the Warriors?
Kevin Knox has played with the Golden State.
And what has he done?
He's laced them up. You're saying he hasn't played. I'm just saying he's laced them up.
Okay, look, he laced them up. There we go. And then you got Quentin Post, who's establishing himself this year. Where you're like, dude, he's nice. You can't say that because you're going off just this year. So this is the people. Gus Santos, great defender. Dude's gonna be a problem if he stays like this. But these are guys that are not developed, don't have no experience, no career background, and they're winning.
Hold on a minute here. The players that are going to get the most amount of time for the Warriors,
7-man roster,
going to be Steph Curry,
1,
Andrew Wiggins,
2.
Kaminga.
Andrew Wiggins is in Miami.
Yeah. Wiggins gone, but
yeah. That's right. Sorry, hold on. Let me pull it up here.
And Kaminga's been hurt, but he's coming back.
Kaminga just got back 2 games ago. So
he just got back. Okay.
So start over. Remember, playoffs is 7-man roster. So if you can get 7 solid names from the Warriors, that debunks Cam's argument right now.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Solomon.
Let me pull up.
Yeah, give me 7 solid names.
Let me pull up the recent game. All right. That's the Knicks.
Jimmy.
I'm looking at the wrong team.
Kaminga. You better not say Brandon
I clicked on the wrong one.
You gotta consider Pod's a part of that. He is. You got to. Same with Moses Moody.
Moses Moody? No, he wasn't playing before the trades and everything. Moses Moody was getting 10 minutes a game. Now he's getting 25 minutes a game.
More than 10 minutes.
Go into the beginning of the season. Moses Moody was not. Go to the look. We want to go to the first. I'm going to go all the way back.
It'll be
Draymond number 1.
Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, Kaminga, Buddy Hield, right? That's 5. And then you're going to have probably Moody and Santos, right? But of those 7...
And Santos not a guy you can say.
Okay, repeat them.
Buddy Hield, Kaminga, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green. And then you can throw any other 2 in there. But your starting 5 who are going to get the most amount of minutes are going to be those 5 guys.
Say 2 more just in case.
It's right now at the current roster's rotation has Santos and have Moody in there. But
it would definitely be Moses Moody and Kevon Looney.
Yeah.
But either way, one thing about the Moses Moody, 59 games played, 19 games started, averages 21.4 minutes. He plays.
Ooh.
He plays.
And look, I just went back into October when I said he wasn't playing. When Curry was out, I forget Curry was out, so he did play. So you got to come on.
Now you're not saying they were winning because they weren't winning, but he was playing.
We weren't winning. I got to go back to what they were saying, like what I was saying. But the whole thing, you still didn't name 7. You can't count Santos. You got close.
But Cam, when you look at the Warriors, how many combined championships can you add? How many combined championships can you add, including the coaching?
To them?
That's over 10. Easily.
No.
While the Bucks,
none of them guys ever won besides Draymond. The dude that won is Kaminga 1 ring, Draymond 4, and Curry 4. Those are the only guys that won. None of those other guys were not there. Jimmy never won.
Steve Kerr's been the coach. Moses Moody was on the team.
All right, let's really back in. Let's really back in. So speaking of winning, we're looking at somebody who's 4-10 in the finals and has missed quite a bit of games. And LeBron James. The Lakers snapped their losing streak, surprisingly, today, playing against Booty Butt Suns. What's the Lakers ceiling? Because the way it's looking, I mean, I don't think you can really name 7 guys for the Lakers. I don't know. Whoa. Do you want to go first, Mr. Cam?
Oh yeah, I will.
All
You're
right,
right.
30 seconds on the
You said you
clock.
can't name
30
seven
seconds
guys.
on the clock.
Look, okay, if you say you can't name 7 guys for Lakers, and then it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm sorry, but Kerr doesn't do what LeBron and Luka does. But we're gonna go with that. Kerr's great. Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler. He's not these guys. You got LeBron James. You got Austin Reeves. You got Kerr. I mean, you got Luka Doncic. You got Gabe Vincent, who's been to a finals. You got Jackson Hayes, who's become established. He named Santos, so Moses Moody, Jackson Hayes. Who else we want to put in there that's just really established? Jared. You know what I'm saying?
Time. So we didn't even.
Oh, I thought you said no. I thought you said no. I about to say you put Moses Moody.
The argument was, where is the Lakers ceiling? And it took you 30 seconds to name 4 players. So who's the next? But you can jump in. You can jump in when we get to the 2 minutes. But someone else explain to me in 30 seconds the Lakers ceiling. Go for it.
I mean,
are we talking about with LeBron, or are we talking about without LeBron?
Lakers, Los Angeles Lakers.
I mean, the Lakers ceiling, I still think is going to be a second round playoff team. That's the ceiling they're going to get to. But when it comes to the Lakers without LeBron, guess what? This is the exact same thing Luka was dealing with before the Kyrie Irving trade, when they didn't have Brunson, Porzingis, they were off the team. You're seeing like, oh, well, it's just Luka. And now they're going to have to build around him. This is just what you're seeing for the future, kind of giving the Lakers that heads up. Like, in the next few years, especially when LeBron retires, we're going to need to get another guy here very soon, or it's not going to be looking that good.
The time. 30 seconds.
The Lakers have the easiest path probably to the Western Conference Finals, right? They match up. If the standings stay the way that they are, assuming they don't keep skidding, but say they do, say they stay where they're at. They have Memphis in the first round. Right, they'll probably match up against either the Rockets or the Nuggets. They beat the Nuggets last year, right, to get to the third round, right? Like, they can indeed get to the the Western Conference Finals and be a team that contends, right? They have to hold on to this 5 seed, though. I think if they hold on to this 5 seed, their ceiling is pretty high.
Time.
Before you start the next time, Gracie, I do have breaking news. Before the 30 seconds, I have breaking news. LeBron just called, and they said Lakers in 5. We're doing all this freaking talk, and he said Lakers in 5.
All right, I'm starting your
Let's
time,
go.
bro. I'm starting your time. Go.
I don't know why people think that the Lakers still don't have a high ceiling due to injuries. Luka is starting to come into himself playing. They do need to get Rui back. LeBron coming back will be a big and tremendous help, to the team. But I do think them coming up on these next couple games, playing the Bucks, is going to be tough for them. But going into the playoffs, the Lakers are okay being middle of the pack, honestly, when it comes to seeding in the playoffs, especially the West.
Time.
So,
Good time.
I think they're in good
Time. So I'm going to go down the list of the West right now, 1 through 10. And I'm going to open up for 2 minutes. Remember, being polite and being nice is cool, but not right now. Number 1 is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Number 2 is the Houston Rockets at 12.5 games back. Denver is 12.5 games back at number 3. Memphis is 12.5 games back at number 4. The Lakers are 13.5 at 5. Golden State is 16 games back at number 6. Minnesota is 16 games back at number 7. Clippers are 17.5 at 8. The Sacramento Kings are 21.5 at 9. And the Dallas Mavericks are 23 games back at 10. So, reminder, that's how close the standings are. Now, I'm going to open it up for 2 minutes, right? So we have finals, we have championship, we have second round, maybe finals, depending on if they stay in the 5th seed. They need to stay where they're at, and then we have second round out of there. 3, 2, 1.
I mean, again, when we're talking about the
even
Lakers,
mention Rui Hachimura, which Yeah, which will make 7. But yeah, Lakers healthy. Like you said, Lakers healthy. The ceiling is not a second round. The ceiling
You
is a championship.
you're
Nobody
looking
beats
at
the Lakers right
you're
now
looking
if
at
it's
just the
healthy.
very
I'm telling you, if
top
Lakers are
three.
Tell me
5,
who. You
championship
say
is
But
coming.
OKC?
you're
No.
not understanding that everyone else has their number. A team like the Sacramento Kings scares the hell out of them with DeMontis Sabonis in the middle.
Don't
Man,
nobody
they didn't
scare
even
us.
beat. No,
All right?
Sabonis is nasty. The Kings couldn't even beat us this year,
I
and
can't believe
this
Like
year,
you.
I got
before this
Houston
year,
Hey,
they
hold
over
on,
in
were
Los
hold
used
on,
to
hold on.
Angeles
beating
right
AD
now.
every year. They would beat
Isn't
AD
Maddie the
every year
same
until this year.
person?
They couldn't even
Isn't
do this
Maddie
with
the
that
same
roster.
person that said Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan? We've seen this before. And you think
Yeah.
they scare the Lakers? And they scare
Do
the
I
Lakers?
think that do you think I think the Sacramento Kings should
Exactly.
playoff team? No, but they're gonna give the Lakers hell if they're playing
Man,
the play in.
nobody's giving them hell.
Listen,
Like
brother.
they could give them one game. They could give them
They're
one
not
game.
in the
That's all it
Lakers
Jokic is
matters.
the only
game
person this
series.
year. Jokic is the only threat to give them hell. Out the
There's
No,
West.
Shea
nobody else
Bean will
in
give
the
them
Curry.
West.
hell
Curry,
too.
if he's
They
hot,
don't have a
maybe, but they
big.
just
Jackson
are
Hayes
nasty
is.
because they can't stop LeBron
I
on
don't care what y'all say
defense.
about Jackson Hayes. How he's been playing for a few
And
game
Hayes
stretch.
has been playing
Listen,
He's
amazing,
Out of
brother.
all
Jackson
the
Hayes is
teams,
playing
out of
amazing.
all the
He's
teams in the
nobody
playing
in the
out
Western
of
West
Conference
scare the
Final,
center.
Lakers, man.
out of
But
all the
let's
teams in
stop
the
talking
Nobody,
Western
about the
Conference,
no
West.
real threat,
Let's
bro.
stop
Even
talking
if you
about the
hate
West
LeBron,
being slick.
we can say
All
F
right?
LeBron. You still
The
got
only
Luka being
teams that are
AR
a
is
threat to the
averaging
Lakers
without
reside
LeBron.
on the
He's
East
averaging
Coast.
27 points.
let's stop talking
Like
about
The
that.
AR
only
is
Let's
getting
talk,
team,
let's talk about the
he might be the
past
best
year.
free
Let's talk
agent,
about
but
Against the
reside on the East
Nuggets,
Coast.
do they have their Nuggets number? No.
let's talk
Yes, they
about
have
The
Nuggets
only
number.
team
You just seen
that
it.
gives
Look,
Lakers
you just
problems
seen it. You
reside on
just
the
seen
East
them play
Coast,
the
brother.
Nuggets with no AD, with Luca
The
playing like
only
oof.
team that
You
gives the
can't
Lakers
count a
a
regular
scare
season game.
reside
You know
on the East
Nuggets
Coast.
not how they play right now
No,
is
hey, I'm gonna go off what
not
Jokic himself
playoffs.
just said. Jokic himself just said after the loss to the Pistons, who you are in the regular season of that's not his accent. Wrong continent.
All right,
Who you
well,
are in the regular
hold on a
season
second.
is who you are in the playoffs.
Let's just talk pure numbers here. Let's just talk
That's
pure
what
numbers here.
Jokic just
The
said. Who
Lakers,
you are in the regular
I
season,
hear
who you are in
numbers.
the
I
out
want
of
to
playoffs.
hear
Doesn't
out of
mean you
all
numbers.
the
just turn it
teams,
on.
out of all the teams in the
Time.
Jesus
30 seconds a pop. Solomon, go first.
good Lord, out of all the teams in the Western Conference Final, when you look about the record against 500 and above teams, the Lakers are second in the Western Conference Final at 19 and 14. Their ceiling is definitely Western Conference Final, and they would have to match up against OKC because OKC is 25 and 8 against teams that are above 500. The next closest team are the Rockets at 19 and 17. Everybody else either has losing records at 14 and 17 with the Nuggets and 12 and 19 with the Grizzlies. Right? The Warriors are 18 and 18. Their ceiling is Western Conference Final. They would have to go above and beyond to beat OKC.
Time. Fantastic use of your time. Sauce.
My question is, what did OKC do last year? Like, where were they at last year? They let Dallas get to the, let's just, being a regular season warrior, as we know, James Harden is that. But as a team, as a franchise, being a regular season team means nothing. When the playoff starts, the regular season means nothing. It just showed that you came to get conditioned, all right? And you won some games. You have to be able to go out there on a night in, night out basis, a home court away, and do the same things that you were doing in the regular season and prove that you are a team worthy of moving on. A lot of these teams that are
Time. Matt.
Again, I'm not trying to discredit the Lakers. They're going to be a good team, especially next year, I believe. But right now, it's not. Jackson Hayes cannot be a starting championship center. He cannot be. He can be someone who comes off the bench, but he can be a starting center. Rui Hachimura, he can come off the bench. He can't be a starting forward. Like
What?
you just right now, I just say they're second round. I'm not saying there's a bad way. They're just second round. They just need a few more pieces. They can't match up with the more balanced teams currently in the playoffs right now.
Time. 30 seconds. Cam. Go.
I'm sorry, I thought I was muted, man. I said just blew me. I just seen the 2022 Warriors win with a nasty forward. So Rui Hachimura can't be a forward? Come on now. And I've only seen one man be able to dethrone a 70 or 68 plus win team, and that's Mr. LeBron James. They have all the recipes to beat OKC. OKC does not have their number because of a regular season record. I'm sorry, y'all. They're regular season Warriors. They have to be able to beat these dudes who are been accomplished, Luka just went to the championship last year. LeBron James. Austin Reeves and all them are not proving themselves against Shea and all them, but these are guys who have been qualified. We've seen it happen a million times. 2022 Warriors. So that's all I gotta say. Anybody can start.
Woof. All right, hey, that was a good one, boys. I feel like we're exercising today. We're exercising. Sauce, put the deuce up for me. That's saucy, everybody. Solomon, put the deuce up for me. That is Mr. Solomon. Matty Ice, put the deuce up for me. Boom. And then Cam, put the deuce up for me. Boom.
I need better lighting in here so I can talk about how the Lakers are going to win the championship.
Comments. Who we got for that one? Give it another 20, 30 seconds. I guess y'all can go at it while we wait on the comments.
Oh, real quick, just for future reference, because something I was noticing, especially during the last debate we just did about the two teams. I think whenever we do two teams, we need to raise it from 30 to maybe 45 seconds. Because you're talking about multiple teams, so you're trying to make a point. It's hard to do it 15-15. I just give about 20 seconds for each. It gives you a few extra words, or even a minute. But that's my personal thing. Like the one we just did.
Me too. I have a list. So it's hard for me to get those words out pretty quick. If I go list mode and go fast, I'm gonna spit everywhere. Nobody gonna be able to understand me. You know. Come on, Grayson. You know me. If I get to talking fast, then Daffy Duck. So yeah.
Out of the text that I got that last round, the comment section is Nolan Boyd. Got to give this one to Solomon. So right now, hey, I'm sorry that
here. Jesus Christ.
Here's what I'll say. Again, no, it's not about being biased, guys. We're taking into consideration you guys are savants of the game. So you can't just use eye perception. Let's use numbers. Let's use time. Cam, you did a great job of using the 68 wins thing. But this guy pulled it out of the hat with win percentage. There was a great statistics to back. Now, he also, I'm not going to give you this moving forward, Solomon. You didn't argue with nobody that whole 2 minutes. You sat there typing on that computer to get your rocks off. And that's cool.
I kept trying to talk for the minute and a half.
I saw it.
And I couldn't get anything out, bro. So I was just like, I'm just going to
wait. You have to throw a few punches to get a word out.
I get it. That was great. And that's what we'll have. So right now we have Cam has 2. Matt, you have 2. Solomon, you have 1 for the week. And Sauce, you have none. You got to get some wins right now, or I don't know.
These people don't understand greatness when they see it. Right? They don't understand. You have to have a certain level of complexity to understand.
No. Let's talk greatness. Let's talk greatness for a second, okay? We're not gonna talk basketball the whole time, but this could be the last take for basketball today. 90s ball,
basketball,
2000s ball, 2010s. And now, who has the most skilled players over uniqueness, over quality, which means against the others, if you had your best out there, 7-man roster, 10-man roster on the courts, who's winning? 90s, 2000s, 10s, now. Now, here's what I will say. Here, wait. Whoa. Don't jump the gun. Here's what I will say. You can grab players who have played in 4 decades and use them on your team. It doesn't have to be a prime thing. So someone like LeBron has played in all 3 eras. So you can use LeBron as a part of your argument for the 2010s, the 2020s, and the 2000s. Now, this is what I will say to challenge you all. You cannot say the same one twice. So if someone says 2000s, it's gone. If someone says 1990s, it's gone. Cam, you went first already, and so have you, Matt, right? So you two are in the bottom barrel for.
No, I'll go last. I'll volunteer to go last.
All right, so the order is going to go Solomon, Sauce, Cam, Matt. 30. I'll give you all 45 seconds. And then we'll do a 2-minute debate, and then we'll go for final takes. You got it? Do you have questions?
You want to start in 5 or you just want era?
So you have 45 seconds to argue your era, and within your era, you can use your era. You can use part of your argument as your starting 5, or starting 7, 10, however many players you have time to discuss, right? And the matchups and me personally, I would save matchups for when someone else brings up a player, right? So that's my personal opinion. But right, so you can stretch however you want. You know what I'm saying? So you can bring in viewership. I don't care. The color of the uniforms, I don't care. Right? Everybody gets 45 seconds. Solomon, you going first. So you got any area to pick from. All right, 45 seconds on the clock. Reminder, era, ball, 3, 2, 1, go for it.
All right, well, I'm just going to go with 2000s, man. You got it's the Hall of Fame list right there. It's Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Shaq, Tim Duncan, Allen Iverson, Dirk, Jason Kidd, KG, Paul Pierce, Steve Nash, Ray Allen, Tony Parker, Vince Carter. I mean, that lineup stacks up well against all of them. I think out of all those players, I think almost everybody there has a ring, if not more. You're talking north of 20 rings from combining all those players together. They're all top in leaderboards all time in some particular category, right? Obviously, LeBron is top in most categories right now. He's played for the longest time. Kobe, we argue, is an all-time great. Dwayne Wade, he has three rings. He's an all-time great. Shaq, he has his 2, right? Dominant center. Dirk has his ring on the Lakers.
Whoa. No comments about each other's thing until now. Just a reminder. If someone has accomplished something like LeBron has accomplished something in 2000, 2010, 2020, if your era is 2010s, you can combine all of his accomplishments for that particular one. Does everybody understand that? Okay. Sauce, go second. 3, 2, 1.
I'm going to go with 2010s, man. You got your LeBron James, Dwight Howard, Joe Johnson, Kevin Garnett, Chris Bosh, Ray John, Rondo. You know, you still had your AIs, you had your Carmelos, you had your Steve Nashes, Amari Stoudemire's, Tim Duncans. You had your young Kevin Durant's, Zebo, Zach Randolph. You know, that 2010s era, I feel, was the best ball versatility. The 90s, it's not even a question. You had plumbers out there playing basketball, man. That's why Michael Jordan is so great today. But nonetheless, 2010s, you know, you had a lot of these people were still in their primes. Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, a lot of these players were still pushing the needle, pushing the ball, winning championships. Hey, Boston Celtics were still a great team. Miami was a good team. The Lakers were a good team. You had all these phenomenal teams running around.
I was pressing the wrong button. I apologize. Cam, 2010s are off the board. 2000s are off the board. 45 seconds starts now.
Go. I was gonna go with 10s, but since I can, I'm gonna go with now. Just because the talent level has risen a lot, you know what I'm saying, since the beginning of the NBA. You have guys who are older, who've been great all eras, that even find it harder for themselves to win now compared to when they were, you know, playing even, you know, in the early 2000s and 2010s. You have centers now that are 7 foot that can shoot a 3, get you 10 assists, and get you 10 rebounds. Like Jokic, you've never seen that 30-20-20 game. It's a different era. So it's things you've never seen, and they had Wilt Chamberlain back then. So you got to go with them because they're doing things you've never seen, and it was a time where it was great going against plumbers.
Big Matty Ice. So 2000s, 2010s, and now is off the board, which means you are left with the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Are you electing to take the 90s and go for it?
I'll take the 90s.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Well, when we talk about 90s basketball, everyone always would say plumbers. Oh, that's my next door neighbor who worked on my toilet a week ago. No. Look, you had Kobe, you had Tim Duncan, you had Shaq. They played in 2000s, even the 2010s. And guess what? They're still top of the league. So don't act like, oh, they were just averaging 40 in the 90s, then averaging 20 in the 2000s. No. They were still balling. And so the 90s, you have to put respect on name. It's a more physical. It's more slowed down. Guess what? Now you can be in the NBA these days, and all your job is be in the corner ready to shoot. That's your whole job. Well, back in the 90s, you had to actually run plays. Everyone talks about college basketball, how fun that is, and how sometimes college basketball is better than NBA right now because they ran plays. That was the whole thing of triangle offense. Now you had in 2010s Houston Rockets.
Time.
I'm
Woo.
disgusted.
Yeah, hold,
So-
Sauce. Don't bite your foot. Y'all got some good juice out there. All right. Solomon, you have the 2000s, but deuce up for me real quick. Saucy, you got the 2010s. Deuce up real quick. Cam, the 2020s. Deuce up real quick. And then 1990s was Big Mighty Ice. All right. Floor is open. 3, 2, 1.
Again,
First
look,
and foremost,
I just want to talk
the
about.
question was the most versatility, the most, what versatility did you see?
It's not
in
versatility, it's
Question was
uniqueness.
the
It's
best
unique.
era. The best
When we're talking
era.
about unique,
What was unique about what people were doing in the 90s? What was unique about
because you
that?
had to play legit
We're not
basketball. You
talking
had to
about
run
unique, we're talking
plays. You
about
can't
the
have
best
one player
era in
ISO
NBA.
and then just everyone else do whatever. No, you have to
we're
have
not
true
talking about
push. You
Okay,
have to
well,
do
that's
true
enough. I tried to
defense.
let
Michael
y'all
Jordan
get
was
it
doing
off
whatever
the
he
top.
wanted.
More physical defense. In the 90s, you had to have all these big men. Guess what? The big man era has died.
Oh,
You think
Lord.
Jokic can be posting up on Hakeem Olajuwon and all these people? No, he doesn't have Hakeem Olajuwon to post up
Well,
against.
that's why he's so
Well,
good. He
never
can
dominated because he was the last
you
of
don't
his
have to post
time.
everybody up on like
That's Dwight Howard.
We're talking about best
Shaquille
era.
O'Neal,
Not talking
look at
about
Hakeem.
not
Man,
talking
He's
about
talking
talent.
about Patrick Ewing.
Oh
He's
Lord,
talking
dude.
about David Robinson.
You gotta stop the narrative.
All these
Do
players.
you know who Kevin Durant is? Do you know who the Durantula is?
Because the 90s had the
Young
best shooting
Durantula?
of all time.
I'm disgusted.
Yeah,
I'm
look, we-
disgusted.
You have numbers that no one was touching again with John Stockton's assist. No one's touching John Stockton's assist numbers again.
You're really gonna sit here and argue this point about the 90s.
Got the mugs and bugs in the night.
Because y'all worry about the individual player. You're worriing about rec basketball. That's all the NBA studies, rec basketball. Have one couple
unique.
seconds to take over. The role players
NBA
just need to
viewership
shoot.
peaked when LeBron came into the league. If I'm not mistaken, NBA viewership peaked when LeBron came into the league. We're talking about best era. We're not talking about uniqueness. We're not talking about talent. We're talking about
It's
best
a dream
era.
team. The 1990s
era,
was a dream team.
the
That's
best era,
whatever the team was. Look at Michael Jordan.
was 2010,
1990s brought
right?
all the viewership
In
to
the 90s,
basketball.
the 90s, the 90s,
1990s
the 90s.
carried the baseball list today. Without the 1990s, don't think about it. We've been in WNBA right now.
Basketball.
We have four Tracy McGrady that's healthy and not healthy.
Time.
Come on now.
Ooh. All right. Matt, last is first and first is last. 45 seconds for your final take of the 90s.
I mean, look, y'all want to hit on the 90s. Y'all want to act like these are just guys who never knew how to play basketball. These are the guys who laid the pavement to what we got today. So don't put no disrespect on the 90s. Everything has changed. You see a lot of viewership going away now compared to what it was. That's why you see a lot of the older generations say back in the 90s when they actually played defense. Back in the 90s where it was more renowned worldwide because you got Michael Jordan and the Dream Team. Look at all those documentaries they had in the past. So come on now, don't be doing all that.
You got 10 seconds. Do you want to elect to pass it?
No, I'll get going then. And again, let's talk about the big men. The big men today in the 2000s and 2010s will never compare against the 1990s. That is just a unique group, and all the players you see today.
Go ahead, Sauce.
Listen, brother. Listen. I'm not taking away from all these great athletes. You cannot take anything away from them. But we're not going to sit here and act like the 90s was the best version of basketball. People weren't even that interested. You know what people want to do? Watch Michael Jordan, watch Shaquille O'Neal. These days, there are so many players that people tune. SGA, and they're not even talking about today. In 2010, you had your young Kevin Durant, you had Carmelo Anthony, you had Allen Iverson, you had LeBron James, you had Dwayne Wade, you had Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan. It is too many people that you cannot sit up here and tell me the 2010s wasn't one of the best eras of basketball. Best eras of basketball. That's all I gotta say.
Time. Solomon.
We talking about practice. We talking about practice.
I thought I go last.
That was the 90s, by the way.
Okay. So Matt, oh yeah, you're right. You should go last. Cam, hold on. I'm gonna. All right, Cam. 45 seconds on the clock.
Like I said, the '90s. I understand. I don't want to disrespect the guys who laid the way, but they laid the way. And what happens when you lay the way? Evolution. You know what I'm saying? The first humans were the first humans. They are not, as good as us. Because evolution. It happens in basketball. It's like with basketball. Early 2000s. It's still the same thing. Very talented. But like I say, the stampede guys are the top guys. You see 5 or 4 of those type guys now. Like I said, Yao Ming, great. We see 5 of them that can shoot threes. Threes are better than twos. 2010s. All those guys that you see, Sean Marion, all them type guys, were not talented. So, yeah, my era is the best.
Solomon, final take.
Well, in the 2000s, we got the Lakers and Celtics finals twice, right? The highest viewership that the NBA viewers like to see, right? 18.1 million views, 14.94 million views. You had LeBron come to the league. Everybody started watching him because he's supposed to be the next greatest thing since Michael Jordan. The Lakers won it 4 times. When the Lakers go to the finals, everybody watches when the Lakers are in finals. 2001, 19 million views. 2002, 15 million views. They didn't even play anybody good. They played the Sixers and they played the Nets, right? That is the peak point in terms of NBA viewership and just one of the best eras in terms of talent. You had everybody, all the GOATs that we talk about in their primes playing the best of their basketball at the time, right? Once you get to the 2010s, all those guys like KG, Shaq, all those guys are on the back ends of their careers. They're going to be retired in the 4 years, right? Dwayne Wade retired in the 2010s. Right?
Time! Okay. So I'm going to... I'm going to leave it for my comments section, but I just want to go through the wheel real fast. So in one spectrum, we have in the 2000s to where viewership was at its all-time peak. All the people who were in the 90s and 2010s and whatever were in the primes in the 2000s where the rivalries were the best, and that's that. In the 90s was the pavement, the original Dream Team. Everyone who was in 2000s, 2010s were still playing in the 90s and playing good ball. People in the 80s that were playing that were still playing good ball in the 90s. In the 2010s, the argument is pretty much a blend of those two to where it was like the golden era of all sorts of forms of hoops. Am I right, Sauce? That's your argument pretty much?
Come on, man.
Okay.
Come on.
And then we have the 2020s where their argument is, I mean, we have 5 people over 7'3" that can shoot from 30. Are we serious? Does viewership equal talent? No. So maybe the viewership is down, but if you put my 5 against your 5, my 5 is winning. That's what the 2020s argument is. So we're going to leave it for the comments. In the comments, we have original Dream Team, got to go with 90s. We're so done with the 90s. Shea over John Stockton. Uh-oh. So I think we're kind of tied right now. What is going on in the comments? That's great.
Shea will be considered nowadays.
What'd you say?
I said in the comments, I said Shea will be considered current NBA. Like I said, Shea over John Stockton. Thank you.
Someone said Keon Johnson is more talented than John Stockton. There, I said it.
Yeah, which is nowadays. And he's tripping because I actually love that little man, John Stockton. But talent-wise...
So much unnecessary hate.
Chris Webber, White Chocolate, Jason Dubb. Got to go with 90s.
Jason Dubb? Dude, you have a million Jason Dubb that's white. I got Austin Reeves. I don't know where it's Austin Reeves. Or Luka. We have so many white dudes out there.
None of them are white chocolate.
One Larry Bird. I got Luka, I got Jokic, I got all these Larry Birds. Even the white dudes are better nowadays.
Where did it all start from? Where did it all start from?
It's about the evolution, man. Y'all gotta understand.
If
times are gonna change, people are gonna get better. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
are the best of the humans? No, we were getting eaten by animals. What are you saying? They started this.
I'm saying, and so do people. You know, we gotta understand basketball is only going to get better. You're only going to learn different tricks. All right, you can teach an old dog a new trick. Right?
But at the same time, people are trying to say that Michael Jordan's DeMar DeRozan. No, he played with Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant dominated the NBA for decades.
Like,
I know we're not talking. I'm sick of talking
look at who all
about
time greats won
Michael
against.
Jordan. All right, sick of it.
Mhm.
The conversation
Yeah.
with Michael Jordan is sickening. All right.
Yeah, but guess what?
Would Michael Jordan win 6 rings in today's NBA? No. When he won 3 in a row, retire, and come back and win 3 again, you're crazy if you say
I
that.
don't know. You are being disrespectful to Michael Jordan when you use him to win a debate.
He's gonna go smoke a cigar, come back and beat Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, and Klay Thompson. You gotta be kidding me. Get out of here.
He had the best
And y'all so
all-time out of
these days,
everybody.
LeBron James couldn't do it. LeBron James couldn't beat the likes of the Mavericks. You know, so
Nobody,
let's just.
the Mavericks, and they say that against that argument for Kobe, like Kobe didn't get swept in the first round.
Okay, I just hold on. I just got somebody. Hold on. I think I just got something. I got something that can settle this right now. Someone in the comments said no one's Olympic team will be better as the original Dream Team. Matt, you are stuck with the Dream Team, okay?
Mhm.
And Cam, you are stuck with the team that played last year. Solomon and Sauce, pick an Olympic team, or probably 2. I think Sauce, you get 3 from your decade to argue for the best team. And that's gonna be the winner, and I'm gonna decide because I feel like the comments are split. You guys are split, so I'm gonna give everybody a second to grab a team.
Yeah.
One
Can I
team.
say something? I'm sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Before we start that, the reason why that argument will go against me is because this is why the game has evolved. Literally, all of the half of the talent now is out from a different country. Victor Wembanyama, different country. Giannis, MVP of the league, different country. Jokic, a 3-time MVP now, different country. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP this year, different country. Those guys back in the day wasn't facing guys like mine. My guys are coming from out of the country and they're winning MVPs. We've never seen this. The game is worldwide talent now. Y'all can argue y'all team and everything like that. That's the reason why why the Olympic team and games are closer now. It's because they're not going against Yapu Balumala. They're going against Jokic. They're going against Luka. They're going against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They're going against dudes who are in the NBA and are winning MVPs. So y'all can say your dream team is going to be better than my current dream team. Yes, because half of the best MVP talent is coming from out of the country. Thank you. My TED Talk.
Oh.
There we go.
Okay. I get that, but so are you null and voiding your Olympics?
Me or
Are you asking that?
No, I was asking you, Cam. Are you null and voiding your team because it's not fair? Because nowadays so many players are from different places in the world.
Yeah. Look, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying somebody said it makes sense. How does that not make sense? Who has been the MVP the last 6 years? Who has been the MVPs? Dudes that are not from America.
Cam, I'm not trying to help you out or nothing, but I'm trying to make you understand that use that as your argument.
So what? I'm arguing.
Competition they have the decades is better than any other decade.
This is my argument. My argument is the NBA is better because you have European talent now that you've never seen. These guys are winning MVP.
Don't say it's not fair. The competition's better now.
Do you know? But do you know who Peja Stojakovic is?
Do you know who Nikola Jokic is?
Let's stop that. Let's stop that there. Let's stop that there. There have been since whenever, you know what I'm saying, we've had foreigners coming into the NBA, playing good basketball, winning championships. So the narrative you're trying to pull and spin, I get it. I truly do. It is more now than it was before. Yes, I concur there. However, this is not the first time we've heard of it. This is not the first time we've seen it, nor watched it.
Someone in the comments said the Redeem Team over the Dream Team. Let's make this the final debate so we move on to NFL. Go ahead, Solomon.
That's what I was about to say.
Go ahead, Solomon.
2008 is my Olympic roster pick, right? Out of all the teams that we've had across the NBA that have gone and represented us in the Olympics as a roster, outside the Dream Team, there's only one other team that's on a documentary, and it is the 2008 roster, which, let me remind you, is Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, Kobe Bryant, Dwight Howard, LeBron James, Jason Kidd, Chris Paul, and Dwayne Wade, right? I mean, just an absolute... It's the only other team that we've had that's had a true documentary on it, right? Obviously, it's the Redeem Team, the one that comes back after the United States gets a bronze medal in 2004, come back, win gold. I mean, that team was all the current players that we argue as GOATs right now, the greatest in their absolute prime. And that's when Dwight Howard was actually a useful center, right? I mean, that team was crazy, right? I think we talk about, I think that the only difference that sets apart the two teams is you're talking about the grinded out era versus just the premier talent era, right? And it's like, we'll never get to see what that looks like on paper, but we're talking about just raw talent and the guys that are passing the guys in the 90s. You're talking about the 2018.
Time! Sauce, go for it.
Listen, man. I don't care about no foreigners, none of that. The 2008 Olympic team was one of the best teams we ever saw.
Wait, time out. Your era is 2010.
Oh, man, I said 2008.
Thank you.
My apologies. 11. All right.
11?
12.
There's an Olympic team at 11.
12. Oh, man. I gotta stay off that stuff sometimes. It's messing my mind clearly. But no, the 2012, like, come on, man. LeBron James. Do I need to say his name again? Do y'all know who he is? Y'all know who he is, right? The narrative of Cam, you're trying to push these foreigners, getting all these MVPs and coming and playing, and it doesn't matter. They're in the NBA, all right? They're over here now, all right? And when they go play with these limited teams and play for their teams, such as Giannis, things of that nature, that's what's going on now. Cool, they go play for their own countries, right? So we're talking about the dream
Time!
I didn't get my point out. I was thinking too long.
Cam? Matt.
So when we look at the 1992 Dream Team, look, you can talk about the talent they had to go against all you want, but let's look at the facts. They're the most influential Olympic team pretty much of all time. Going for the first team to have professional athletes to represent the United States when it comes to basketball, and they made it show why they were the best. One of the largest point differentials when you look at the history of the Olympics, as well as to have the most Hall of Famers on that team. This is one team that's never going to be duplicated ever again just because of the impact they had. All these teams you talked about was because of this team. They set the pavement. They're the ones who find a path for everybody to run down. So they have the greatest impact, and they're the team reason why everyone wants to represent America.
Time! So in the comments we have, no Olympic team will ever be good as the original Dream Team without the Euro step. Redeem Team over the Dream Team. Redeem Team, yes sir, C peasy. The Dream Team didn't have Isaiah Thomas or Shaq. They had Christian Laettner and was still the most dominant. Cam was spitting facts though, saying that. Cam, 45 seconds on the biz iron.
For why my team is, why my area is, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So, like I said, my era again. I started off with the point of the Olympic team with the talent just being better. My Olympic team 2020, this past team that just played, you probably won't agree that it's better than everybody else, but I believe that they played way harder competition than anybody else's team, and they got the job done. You never seen, like I said, just even the Jokic team, they were stacked. France was stacked. Basketball has become more worldwide, and my team was still able to get it done with older guys mixed with the younger talent. It's just not too many people you'll be able to match up against this team and be like, oh, they're just going to dominate. You can say the Dream Team because those big centers or whatnot, but guess what? We're just going to stretch the floor with them. Threes are better than twos. Y'all forget that.
Time. All right, I'll throw it up to the comments again. Last chance.
But real quick comments, you cannot add what Cam said before all this debate stuff. You got to do what he just said now. Because he's not getting 2 times to speak about the same subject.
Oh, we still going? Anyways.
It's open floor right now, waiting on the comments to spit something out.
Back to what I was saying, man. This era, if I got to argue, I can argue down with anybody just because, one, the talent is way better. You can't argue that the talent is not better. I will show you a Michael Jordan.
You can talk about talent, but what about fundamentals? What about actually playing as a team?
Oh, hold on.
As a
He
team,
can
the
do
best
his
team.
ISO. Steph Curry, he can ISO. LeBron, he can do his thing. But
Go
you're
ahead,
talking about a team
Solomon.
with 11 Hall of Famers to be able to communicate, like get together as one and become one of the most dominant teams we've ever seen touch a basketball floor.
Go
Pretty
ahead,
sure, and
Solomon.
I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that the United States has only not won gold in one era. So off that knowledge, that means that during that time, the 2000s, international basketball was better than the United States basketball, which means that the 2008 team had a harder time than any other era.
So that's not meaning national basketball. That means that 2000 era, which somebody else's era, was not as dominant, maybe. Because right after that, we blew everybody out.
We got
Yeah,
bronze. We got bronze in
So-
2004 with like the same roster. And
You got who in 2004?
in 2004, bronze was what the gold medal was for the Olympic team, and then in 2008 they won. It's the only time that they haven't won gold.
Exactly.
So therefore, off your argument, that would mean that 2024 roster or whatever the most recent Olympic roster did not have the hardest time because they won gold easily.
No, that would no, because if you go off talent and what these people have even
But
created,
they didn't win.
they're
But they didn't beat the United States roster.
You know something that throws me. Hold on. Something that throws me. There's never. Can you name an Olympics team where LeBron wasn't being carried? I mean, KD and Curry carried him this last one, and then before that, I mean, you could say Melo, and you could say Kobe. I'm just like, I don't know.
Y'all guys don't speak facts. What are facts? Look, like I say, I give Kobe credit. I give Curry credit. When people don't like LeBron, they really dislike him, and it's okay. Like I just showed you guys, we can be stat sheet watchers, or we can even just watch it on the court. Curry played terrible into the last 2 games. So you don't get there if it's not for LeBron. LeBron led your team in rebounding. LeBron led your team.
But it's okay. Even Captain America is not the best Avenger.
LeBron led your team in points, basically. Curry had 14.8. LeBron had 14.2. LeBron led you in everything on the most efficient numbers and on the most time, and he led your team in steals. What are we saying? How do you get carried when you lead your team in everything? And even in that last game where everybody's saying, I can't say this. LeBron had 24, Curry had 22. They both shot above 50%. How do you get carried when you score more than the guy? You gave more assists than Curry. You gave more.
All right.
It doesn't make sense. It's not making sense.
In the comments, it says talent is still all around better now. Dream team player who? Still sticking with the 90s. Bron hate is crazy. So it looks like we're not having we're not gonna have
everybody wants to stick around with plumbers and freaking carpenters. I get it.
We're gonna transition. No, nobody gets a point there. We're gonna transition on to the next one. Pick one team. And who's got the highest grade so far in the NFL offseason? Total, not just free agency, NFL offseason. One team, highest grade so far. Obviously, you can't pick the same team twice. You're going to get 2 rounds of 30 seconds. You can pick a second team on the second round. And then the last one, you argue your points off of each other, right? So, Matt, go first.
I mean, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings, obviously. They have improved the trenches, which is the most important part of a football team. Look how the Eagles' success, what they did against the Chiefs, it was about the defensive line. And the offensive line even got better for the Vikings as well. They already had one of the best units. Now they just got even better. JJ McCarthy is going to take a huge leap. He was supposed to start over Sam Darnold. He had a great training camp. That they were loving him before the injury. So you saw the season Sam Darnold have. I think JJ McCarthy's going to even have a better season. And another year, Jordan Matthews is getting better.
Your team is the Minnesota Vikings, and you didn't give him a grade. Next person. Let's go Sauce. 3, 2, 1.
But you know what it is. You know I'm staying on my home team, the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't care that we lost CJ. I don't care that we lost Milton Williams, and I definitely don't care that we lost Josh Sweat. The Eagles are phenomenal when it comes to replacing players with young talent. And people think, oh, we lost those players were role players prior to us getting into that season. Josh Sweat wasn't no big-time name. Milton Williams definitely wasn't a big-time name. Darius Slay, okay, he's getting old. We're going to go younger, all right? So I still give them A rating. All right, we're not done. The draft is still coming up.
Time. The Eagles
I don't-
A rating. Cam.
I'm going to go with, so a lot of people are not going to agree with this, and it's okay. I'm going to give Seattle a B plus. Yes, they lost a lot of pieces, but I feel like they're on the back end of this draft. On this free agency, has picked it up a little bit. You look at, we let go of Decaf, we let go of Lockett, we let go. No, we didn't let go of Lockett. So we let go of some other people. You still have a great running back in Kenneth Walker and Claiborne.
Time.
Dang.
Tyler Lockett was let go, by the way.
Okay, I know. Look, I said it, then I took back on that. I wasn't for sure.
Solomon, 30 seconds on the clock, first round.
B.
Wait.
Got Cooper Kupp.
Hold on. We got B plus for the Seahawks. We have a what grade for the Eagles?
You know exactly what grade it is, brother.
I said A.
You know exactly
Okay,
what it
an
is.
A grade for the Eagles. B
Yeah, Super
plus
Bowl
for the
champ.
Seahawks. And
Put
then
that on
the
there.
Vikings. And then here we go, first round, Solomon.
Yeah, I just can't fucking stole my thunder, but I think I could prove his point a lot better. But I'll go with the Bills. I'd probably give them. I give them a B rating. I think we'll have to find out and see what they end up doing with it. But they got better defensively, I think. I think they'll still make a trade for a receiver, but currently they're doing all the right moves to still be competitive. Right, they've been one game away from the Super Bowl like 2-3 years in a row almost. And they're just missing that one piece, and I think they're just trying to strive to find that piece. And I think if they can get one more addition, that grade goes up to an A. But currently, with everything they're doing, they're trending in the right direction. But
Time. Span the block. Back to you for your second 30 seconds for your second team. In
Who?
3. So now it's gonna go Solomon, Cam, Sauce, Matt.
Oh, so we're doing two teams.
completely different. I can't pick off anybody else's.
Right, and then you're gonna debate. It's giving you more room to debate from getting a second team. So, would you guys like to go in reverse order, back and forth, or would you guys like to do the same order twice? Let's do the same order twice because you've had the time to do it. Matt, go ahead.
All right. Well, first Vikings, I'll give it A plus. Denver Broncos is my second team. I'm going to give them an A. Just the moves they had helped to add to their defense, and also getting Noah Fant to be a good safety option for Bo Nix. The offense is going to look a little better, and I feel like in the draft they're going to make some big moves to get some skilled players that really help excel that offense. The defense was already a top 3 defense. Top 5 got worst. And they got 2 elite players who's going to help them at their worst positions. At safety and the pass coverage linebacker get hit.
Time. And clarifying, what did you give the Broncos?
A.
Okay, so Matt is locked in. Vikings A plus, Broncos A. Sauce, Eagles A. Who you got second?
The first one is whatever, but second, I'm gonna have to go with 49ers. I'm giving them a freaking D minus. All right. We already knew that 49ers don't have any money. We know this. They don't have no money to pay these players, but they let go of Debo. Ayuk is still injured. You're letting go of Hufanga. You let him go. They let go of a lot of people. Greenlaw's gone. Like, it's just wowzers. And I don't think they're making any moves to get anybody over there. Plus, they're gonna have to pay Purdy soon. All right, so I'm gonna give the 49ers a D minus.
Time. Okay. Cam, Seahawks B plus as your first one. Who you got for number 2? Cam going twice. Cam defaults as number 2. So,
This thing, I always do that. I always bounce back last second. I don't know why. I'm screaming, talking to you, saying, wait. But for my number 2 team, I might have to go with a low grade with the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to go with a C minus. Not all grades have to be good. Only because they let go, again, like we said, of their only defensive hope after coming off of last season, ending the season, the last 5 games with 35-plus points, but all of them ending in a loss besides 2 games, I believe. And all those losses they got were under 6 points. So your defense is now gone. You want to sign Higgins, and you got to sign Chase in the offseason. I believe they just dug themselves in a completely big hole for the future. So I have to go negative on the
time. Solomon, 30 seconds on the clock.
I'm gonna jump on the same train with these negative trends. I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I'm gonna give them a C-. They have the largest salary cap coming into this season in terms of free spending money, and they have done absolutely nothing with it. They balked on Cooper Kupp. They didn't get Godwin, even though he didn't really take the extra money. We're going to pay him $20 million extra than the Buccaneers were. I don't think Wallace is a needle pusher. I don't really think that's a solution to the offense. They've added some defensive pieces, but that's expected since it's Vrabel. But I just don't really see them doing anything that I really want them to be competitive with.
Time. Okay, I want to clarify something because I believe maybe I was wrong looking back. I swear I said like best team that made the best moves in the free agency and give it a grade.
That's what I thought you said.
Okay. And only one person stuck to the going for the best teams and giving it the best grade. So I mean, I get
we go off the rails here, man. We go off the rails here.
All right. So next we would obviously I had planned next the worst teams going. I feel like some of y'all kind of like whatever. So right now, let's clarify. We got Bills B, Patriots C- for Solomon, Seahawks B+, Bengals C- for Cam, Eagles A, 49ers D- for Sauce, and Vikings A+, Broncos A for Matt. 2 minutes on the clock. Who's right, who's wrong, or who do you agree with?
I mean,
I'm gonna jump on Cam's point, right? With the Seahawks, they shipped out $70 million and lowered that cap to $40 million between Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp. Right, that team is in one of the weakest divisions in all of football. You're talking about the Rams, the Seahawks, the Cardinals, and the 49ers. Right, the only team you have to worry about is the Niners. They could easily come into a wild card spot, maybe win the division. Right, but I'm just gonna jump on his train there because that was the team I was gonna go for originally.
But at the same time, let's look at the teams I chose. Okay, let's look at the teams I chose: the Vikings and the Broncos. Both of them have something in common. They did not finish the best team in their division, but they made moves that might have made them the best team in the division. I will argue right now, when you look at just pure roster, don't look at coaching and all that, pure roster, that the Broncos are better than the Chiefs right now when it comes to the roster. When you look at a full team, I'll make that argument right now. And in the Vikings, I feel like they're going to win the NFC North this coming year because of these moves they made.
Bo Nix hasn't proven himself yet. He had a good rookie year, but
and their defense is elite. Look what a great defense does to the Chiefs. It's worked 2 times now in the Super Bowl.
The Chiefs? Are you seriously? Look, this is what you gotta do every year. You gotta give the damn Chiefs this damn underdog narrative to make them get some fuel in the tank. The Chiefs? Are we kidding? The back-to-back Chiefs? Are we kidding? They're not better than
And look what the Eagles just did to the Chiefs. Look what the Buccaneers did to the Chiefs. Great defense brings a lot of pressure. It gives them a pain.
You're saying the Broncos, buddy. The Eagles roster and the Eagles just
the Eagles lost their pieces. Eagles lost multiple pieces.
You're saying that the Broncos are better than the Chiefs roster. The Broncos roster are nowhere near the Eagles roster. The Eagles.
Look at position. Look at by position. Look at by position. Really. Because the Chiefs lost one of their best offensive linemen to the Bears. The Chiefs lost multiple players. Look at the defense. The Broncos have better defense, and they're going to be better.
Chiefs are freaking frauds. All right.
Broncos have a better receiving core than the Chiefs.
But it doesn't matter.
They have a 30-something-year-old
None of that matters. None of that matters.
Because at the end of the day, not only did the Eagles have a great defense, their offense was crazy. They had a 2,000-yard rushing running back who didn't even perform in the Super Bowl, and they still won. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter about defense.
Say it with me, Solomon. DTA.
The Eagles are completely different team than your Broncos.
We're talking about off-season. We're talking about off-season. Off-season.
So
But
yeah,
they-
and look,
but
I'm saying
they-
And what have the Eagles done to make them so much better this offseason? I heard them losing more players than getting more players.
But it,
And guess what? We're still going to be top in the NFC. What does it matter?
was telling you the reason.
You know how like the Broncos still win the Broncos. That's fine. But look at the Vikings. The Vikings are now looking like the best team in the NFC. If you look at tell me who has a better offensive and defensive line combination than the Vikings. Tell me that.
sure, but
Can I say one thing?
JJ McCarthy has yet to play an NFL snap, so who knows what that process is going to look like.
And
He looked better than Sam Darnold, and look at the season Sam Darnold had.
Hey, the fucking
I was better than a lot of guys in fall camp as well. I'm driving trucks and they're in the NFL. So in fall camp, just go out for fall camp.
But guess what? Even if JJ McCarthy is not look, they can fill out the prophecy and get Aaron Rodgers.
You're going
They can get Aaron Rodgers potentially. But besides the quarterback position, look
Okay.
at everything
All
else they got.
right. Time.
That's too many back bags of chips.
Time. That was great. Good football. Look, Matt's got this one. I'm just being honest. Solomon, close. I think if you would have taken on, there's a couple teams that got kind of left on the top of the board that you could have grabbed from. I feel like a couple of y'all could have grabbed from. I like going Bills. That was off the sheets. It was very easy and elementary to pick the Vikings and Broncos, but that was kind of very like given. Commanders were left out. There's a couple Steelers. I mean, Sauce, you just threw all you.
Don't do that. Hold on.
Sauce.
Don't do that.
Sauce. Okay, hold on. The argument was who has had the most impactful off season from the end of the Super Bowl until now, not just free agents. That is not meaning what they can do next week, what they can do in 3 weeks. That is the argument was who has had the most impactful offseason from the day one after Super Bowl to now. And your arguments were the Eagles at an A, and then you said the 49ers D-, when the argument was who had the better offseason. So, I mean, like, you can go first on the next one. Okay. You can go first on the next one where I ask who's had the worst offseason so far, and you can use your 49ers and go on that.
I may have misconstrued
yes
what you said a little bit.
Yeah, so
okay.
I mean that
but
I can't.
I will say, I hate and I hate that you said those goddamn on Commanders did Deebo Samuel.
Look, I'm not. Whoa. I am not saying.
Look.
Look. This is not my personal preference that the Commanders are the top team that's made the moves. I said this yesterday with Matt that I don't believe in their moves. But if you have a team to argue, you can argue that the Commanders have made moves to put themselves in position. You can argue that, debate that, compared to saying, oh, the 49ers, D-. The argument is who has improved from 0 to 100, who has made the most movement since the first day of Super Bowl to now. That's the argument. So now we're going to do the counter contrast, and then we're going to move on to baseball. So counter contrast is the worst so far from day one of Super Bowl to now. Put a grade, 2 rounds. Who has had the worst offseason? Sauce, go first.
Or worse, right?
Give it a grade.
I'm going to go with the 49ers. Like I said, I give it a freaking D-. They've lost so much. I don't see them winning 7 games. I genuinely don't. I don't think Christian McCaffrey is going to be able to do it all on his own. Brandon Ayuk's coming off an injury. What else do they have over there? You know, their defense has gotten so much worse. They've lost so much over there. Ward, Funk, it's just too much that they've lost to be able to recuperate.
Time. So your number one team is the 49ers, and you didn't give a grade.
I give them D-.
Oh, D-. Okay. Let me Matt, go second.
I mean, I'm going to have to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Just, you're in a position where you got a new head coach, and you're coming off of failure seasons after failure seasons. Trevor Lawrence is supposedly your guy. He is supposedly your franchise guy, but you got rid of his 2 favorite targets. Right now, yes, you got Brian Thomas, and he's good, but you're at this point, you're not trying to get rid of people. You're trying to get more people to help them. So right now, they're in a position where it's like, what are you doing right now? Like, why are we not why are you not in conversation for a DK? Why are you not? You got some elite wide receivers still out. Like you got a Keenan Allen to elite, but good wide receiver like Keenan Allen, and you know they're going to get someone in the draft. But it's just you would expect them to try to make more moves to be competitive, especially in that that division.
My bad. I kind of messed up on the time. Good job, Solomon. I'm gonna give you 45 because I gave him 46. Restarting 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still going to go with the Pats. I'm going to give them a C minus. I think they really could have done a lot with that salary cap. I mean, I think we're talking about. I think we pulled up the number a couple weeks ago. It was like 100 million or something like that, and in cap space that they could have used, and they've done absolutely nothing with it. And really, like you look at that division, like obviously the Bills are probably the team that is going to win it, but like you're only 4 games off of the Dolphins, who won 8 games last year, right? You're 2 games off of a wild card spot. So you're looking at 6 wins. You need to find guys that can get you 6 more wins off of a 4-13 season, and they just have not spent the money to do it. I don't know. I don't see any other options out there on the table right now that they could really go and spend the money on. It's just kind of, I think, really a disappointing kind of offseason right now. They're gearing up the defense, but I want some offense.
Time. Pat's C minus. What was your first one, Matt? Jags, what grade?
Oh, D minus.
Okay, D minus. All right, Saucy, number 2. Who you got?
I'm gonna have to go with the Saints. I'm gonna give them probably a D as well. They haven't made any moves to make themselves better. I just don't see themselves putting themselves in a position to win now. I don't know what their plans are going forward with Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, but I just do not see. They let go of Marshawn Lattimore during the season last year. What, like, defensively, what are they doing to go in a better direction, you know?
You got 6 seconds. That was great, dude. Time. Matt, 30 seconds on the clock. Go for it.
I mean, no, I'm just going. I originally was going to do the Houston Texans with their line, but no, I'm just going to do my gut. Dallas Cowboys. Right now, it's a D. Actually, I'll give a C minus. Yeah, you're getting some 1-year contracts, really cool. But when are we going to be America's team? When are we going to make a free agent move? Everyone's looking at us like, what are Cowboys doing? Like every time we're talking about someone, we're getting these 1-year. Oh look, we got Dante Fowler. We're supposed to get Come on, us.
All right. 49ers, Saints, Jags, Cowboys are off the board. Solomon, your first team was the Pats at a C minus. Who you got for number 2?
Well, I'm gonna go with what I feel is way up here. I'm gonna go with the Chicago Bears, and I'll give them a D minus too. A team that's had a lot of hype coming in 2024, absolutely falling flat in their face, and they haven't done anything really to make that team better. I don't know if they need to add offensive line. I don't know if they need to add defense. I mean, they gave up a lot of points to offenses last year, but they also couldn't score, right? So they had all these weapons. They couldn't score with any of those weapons. I don't know if it's a quarterback issue. I don't know if it's an O-line issue. I don't know if it's a D-line issue. I don't even know if the Bears know what the issue is, but they haven't even done anything or attempt to do anything to be competitive in a division that arguably they can be competitive in, and they've done...
Time! Oh my gosh. Okay. We got 49ers, D minus, Saints, D, that's sauce. We got the Jaguars, D minus, Cowboys, C minus, that's Mr. Matty Ice. Then we got the Pats, C minus, Bears, D minus, and that's Solomon. I'm going to open up the floor for 2 minutes. You can argue why the ones you picked, both of the ones you picked were the worst, X, Y, and Z. Reminder, we have someone who put a C minus on the board. Both of you had a C minus. So you can say, X, Y, and Z, or you can say, I think that your grade should have been a B. Your grade should have been a C because I don't think you picked up on them picking up this person or that person, right? Okay. Sauce, you here?
Indeed.
Okay. 3, 2.
Well, Solomon, I just want to start with you. When you putting the Bears at a D minus, I don't agree with that.
I don't agree either. I think the Bears
They get 3 offensive linemen that, especially Joe Tooney, who's a All Pro only like 2 seasons ago. Like, it's an improvement. They're going the right direction. Is it going to be a game changer move? No, but it's not a D minus. I'll give that at least a B.
Honestly, even speaking with the Bears,
C+.
it's not like the Bears needed to make a lot of moves. The Bears are not a bad team. They're young, especially at the quarterback position. So the Bears are not a terrible team in itself. Now the O-line, yes, the O-line needed very much help to support Caleb Williams.
Which they made an attempt for sure in free agency.
Yes, but the Bears have weapons.
But let's talk about a team real quick that has made no moves to help them. Like maybe on a defensive, maybe 1 or 2 moves. But Jacksonville, like what are they like? How can you argue that they're not having a horrible offseason?
They're having a terrible offseason, but the bigger conversation here is Trevor Lawrence. What is he
Imagine
gonna do?
being a team. Imagine just being a team and an owner of a team, hiring a new head coach to build this culture, and your coach right now is losing 2 of your best receiving options for your franchise quarterback that supposedly you're backing. And the only thing you got for you is maybe a draft. They choked their draft picks before.
Not gonna lie, there was a very interesting choice of head coaches there. But I think that the 49ers and the Saints are definitely the 2 bottomest teams. They have to be.
At the same time, I like the Saints though, because the Saints made some moves on their defensive line that are going to help them. Because Kevin Moore's coming from the Eagles organization that just won the Super Bowl.
My pushback with the Niners is that yes, they didn't do anything in this offseason, but I think that's their intention. Right, so if you're looking at it from a 49ers front office, right,
they still got one of the best coaching staffs. Like they're going to be good.
Trying to do that, they know they're going into rebuild. They know they're not going to sign those guys. It's okay to let them walk. It's not like they purposely lost out in those deals. So, like, sure, in terms of you want to be competitive because they're competitive the last 2 years, yeah, I understand that point of view. But I don't think that's the point of view the front office is coming from. They're coming from the point of view that they know they're going to walk and they're going to the rebuild stage. So I think in terms of their offseason, it's a win for them, which is why their grade would technically be higher because they're not trying to win. That's not the goal.
Yeah, it's speculation. I mean, you're not
getting
wrong.
rid of everybody. Like they got rid of their second best wide receiver. They got rid of their second best linebacker.
Look at the division the Saints are in. Look at the division the Saints are in. All 4 of those teams. Well, let's take that back. 3, because the Panthers, they're the Panthers. But at least 3 of those teams until week 16 have a chance to make the playoffs. Look
at the situation that Jacksonville's in, though. They're in a division that is wide open. Houston's gotten so much worse.
Let's take out Jacksonville for a
$100
second.
million in salary cap and aren't doing anything with it. Absolutely
But
nothing.
you gave him a C minus. That should be automatic disqualification. That's why I'm not even bringing up the Cowboys.
I'm talking about
they've made moves, but they haven't made the big move. A team that you're expecting to make the big move hasn't made the big move yet.
Yeah, it's called Jacksonville because they're
You don't have the salary
going
cap
to
for it.
support their franchise quarterback. At what point are they going to support their franchise quarterback?
But that division is a coin toss either way. Like, there's no move.
Exactly. Why not try to make a move to make a push?
What move?
Get another wide receiver. Build your offensive line to make it a little better. All right?
They don't have the money to do it, though. It's all tied up in Trevor Lawrence's contract.
They act like they have no money. They could have made a couple moves. Acting like the DK Metcalf wasn't so expensive for them.
I mean, I just don't think that DK fits what Trevor Lawrence does as a quarterback. I just don't think that's the move.
But overall, just the type of receiver that would help with that. Because Brian Thomas, he can't do it by himself. He had a good year, but he's not. He's not in that elite category like we're looking at Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors as a sophomore.
I don't think the key issue for the Jacksonville Jaguars is a wide receiver. We're talking about an offensive line here. That's been the biggest issue for them. And I just don't think that they have the money to pay a premier offensive lineman. Could they make upgrades? Sure. Yeah, but are they in an immediate need to do so? Their division's not hard. Like, they don't need to go out and get an immediate upgrade. They can go and trade for one at some point later in the season. Like, there's no rush for them to do anything. And I think that's why, sure, have they not done anything? Yeah, fine. But they're not in a bad spot either. Like, they're not a terrible team.
But you said there's no rush, but at the same time, they kind of are, because how many years can you go without making playoffs before you just have to go we got to rebuild again?
Which is what the 49ers are technically doing. And that's a great point to show that the D- in the 49ers could be exaggerated because of the obvious direction they're trying to go. in saying that, I think you all did a great point. I honestly, Pats, Cowboys C minus with a couple of teams that were like remainder, like Texans, like the Panthers. I feel like you could have said one of those instead of those two, but you both being a little biased on your home teams. I get it. What are we doing? I understand, but that's not the point. So
You got to realize.
49ers.
Cowboys-
Hold on. 49ers, I think that one's off the board. I think the Pat one's off the board. I think the Cowboys one is off the board. I think the Bears one was just simply a bad take. I think you missed a couple of receiver signings, defensive end signings, and 3 offensive line signings that improve across the board. With the mention of losing Keenan Allen, that receiver signing is a great one from Washington, as well as a defensive line and 3 young, decent offensive linemen that can help the most touched quarterback in the league last year. Now, in terms of does it make them a superstar caliber team? Absolutely not. It doesn't make them anything, but it moves it in terms of they're at least competitive to watch now. The Jaguars, it's way too many holes to fill to say that they have they can pick up 1 or 2. In my opinion, they can pick up 1 or 2 pieces to move a needle. And out of what was going on, what they can't trade anything, nor can they pay for anything. I feel like the Jaguars are kind of just stuck in sitting water. If you use that argument as a part of that, they're just kind of floating in dead water. Well, then that's a great point. But your argument was they can make a move for a DK, they can make a move for something the other competitive, and you made the same argument that Sauce did with 3 teams in one division, which is a great point. The Saints are in a terrible division and can compete with a very 70s. I mean, their roster is a 73 on Madden, and they can still be the first team in that division just because of the default of who else is in there. Let's just be honest. So the Saints have 0 cap. They have 0 money, and they've spent the money they did have on paying Chase Young. That's horrible. They seem to have tried to make moves, but they're continuously making the wrong moves. And where the Bears tried to make moves, and they're trying, and it seemed to be a decent place. And the Cowboys and Jags, I just don't see it. I gotta give that one a Sauce in my personal opinion from all you guys' takes. Not from I think bias takes the Cowboys and Patriots out of it. I do believe the Patriots. I don't think they're a championship team. But there are some moves that can make them better, that can make them compete against someone like the Dolphins. Sure. But the only reason why they'll compete with someone like the Dolphins is because the Dolphins will be playing unhealthy. If everyone in that division is completely healthy playing, there's no way the Patriots compete with them on any 3 of those teams. Well, the Jets. But between the Dolphins and the Bills, for sure.
Bad news Bears is what the Jets is, man.
I think we're coming into a new age of football where we're going to see a lot more teams tread around 500, which is going to make offseason so much frustrating. Teams are going to be tanking almost halfway through the season instead of, bailing when people get injured because they don't want to be mediocre. Then you have teams where the Cowboys where they kind of swing around the toilet because they don't want to be 500, but then they'll never win. I'll open up the floor for another minute and a half, and then we'll transition.
No, I think a lot of it is we have to still see. The free agency is free agency, man. We know these guys are going to want their contracts, especially guys who've had great years. They're going to want their contracts. All right. And nothing is, and a lot of these guys are not going to go to these smaller market teams. Even though they want their contracts, a lot of these guys still want to win. So nobody wants to go to the Patriots. Nobody wants to go to Jacksonville, even if they did have the money to sign whomever. Nobody wants to go to these places. People want to go to contenders, not pretenders. And everybody knows the Patriots is not a contender for nobody to go be at right now. Lakers are not going to win for the next 5. I said the Lakers. The Patriots are not going to win for the next 5 years, and they know that. They're content with that. They're content with developing Drake May. And get talent
that, but they're the guys that they're going after are trying to help develop him, and guys that are towards the back end of their career, right? Like DK, he's got a couple more seasons in him. Still a great receiver. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying those guys are washed. Got a good receiver, but he's coming back.
DK wasn't even the best receiver on his team in college. AJ Brown was, so it's just I just don't think DJ. He's a good receiver.
But I'm
So-
saying that the people that the Patriots were in talks with, we talk about their offseason, it's like those guys aren't like win now guys, right? Those are obviously those players want to win now, but like DK goes to remind me again, he went to he went to
Ole Miss. But
no, I'm talking about where did he
Steelers, yeah.
yeah. I'd still like that's a tough division to be a win now team in. Like they're a competing team, but like still like you got to top the race.
But the Steelers, no matter what, the Steelers make the playoffs, you know, so they always give themselves a fighting chance.
True. And
due
it's
to
the same
whatever.
with Godwin, like he stayed with the Bucks because the Bucks obviously it's a easy division or it's a division that they can win. Like it's not a hard division right now with how everything's seating up, right? But it's not like just even go to Cooper Cup Avenue, like the Reds.
But I think a lot of those teams sign those. It's like Aaron Rodgers, right? A lot of those teams sign those veteran players to come in and play now and teach those guys how to the ropes of certain things. DK Metcalf is not a needle mover for the Steelers. I don't care what you say. One, they don't have a quarterback to give them the ball. Russell Wilson is not going out there throwing 4,000 or 5,000 yards anyways.
Yeah.
So and he doesn't even know he's going to resign there. So they're still up in the air on their quarterback situation. So a lot of teams that are signing your Cooper Cups, that are signing your older people, they understand that these people are in the latter years of their career, and then they're there to help and develop these players because they've seen it. They've been in Cooper Cup as the Super Bowl champion. So I think that he's going there to help JSN develop himself and to be a better player. I think being a player coach is vital in the NFL just as well as it is in the NBA.
All right. So Mookie Betts seems to have a couple of little illness that's going to probably deter him from being ready for opening day, which technically is in 48 hours, baby. And I'm not talking about 48 as in like immediate 48, as in like the next couple of days. We're going to see some real baseball that counts towards the stats for the end of the season. Let's talk about the opening day. There was something that I saw that was quite interesting, and I'm going to bring it back up later when we have Ish and a couple of guests on here, but I just got to get off my chest now. What do y'all think about the seams and the stitching and the pressure of the Japanese baseball compared to the MLB baseball? And I noticed that a lot of the Japanese players, well, from what they said, they have to squeeze the ball harder and whip the ball harder when throwing the ball down. Is that because that could be risk why Ohtani had that surgery? Like, could that, him being used to pitching those Japanese balls compared to the Major League balls and then him throwing it down there, could that have been, a risk of his injury? And could we see that as a trend from all the Japanese players going to the MLB? Solomon, go ahead.
The baseball discussion, we're talking about the physical ball, has been something that's been going around the MLB for such a long time. You want to talk about the difference in baseball. It's not even Japanese to MLB. Let's just talk about United States baseball, right? If you go and look at a high school ball, seams are like an inch higher off the actual leather of the ball, right? You get to college, they get a little bit lower, right? And you get to the MLB and you're basically pitching with leather, right? There's not a whole lot of seams on it, whatever the case is. I think to an extent the ball could play a factor into it. I think at the end of the day, I don't think it's necessarily the ball. It's just the evolution of the game is that we are now throwing harder than we've ever thrown before. And I think that guys are trying to find ways to throw harder and pushing their body to the limit. And when it comes to like the baseball throwing motion is already so unnatural. If you want to compare the two, right? Softball is actually the more natural throwing motion when you're talking about just those actual mechanics.
Underhand.
And yeah. And so throwing overhand is already taxing on the arm. It's not natural. It's not what the body's used to, right? So you're already putting stress and wear and tear on your arm, right? I don't know if it necessarily has anything to do with the baseball in of itself. Gripping the forearm, that's why we had the whole foreign substance debate from like 2 or 3 years ago with spider tack and all that stuff. Whatever the case is, Garrett Cole's complaining about the ball slipping. He's going to hit more guys. I think at the end of the day, there's just freaks of nature who can throw really hard, and there's guys that are not designed to throw hard, and the guys that aren't designed to throw hard try to throw hard, and your body can only take so much.
Matt, anything you want to add on top of that?
I mean, it's hard to go after Solomon just because out of everyone here besides you, he probably is the most knowledgeable when it comes to baseball, when especially when it comes to playing wise. But no, he made some great points and everything. The physical, even the stitching overall, just of the ball, just makes a huge impact, especially when it comes to like the velocity and the curve after the pitch. I've never pitched in my life, so I can't just describe like how Trevor Bauer on his YouTube can with the science and all that of how he has the rotations and all that. But you obviously it makes a huge difference. One of my videos I watched recently talking about Trevor Bauer. He did a thing where he pitched with every baseball over time, over the past like 200 years of baseballs, or a little over 100 years. And it shows how much curve it is, how much the velocity falls off, and he talks about the grip and everything. So you can just see an impact just by the small differences between the balls today compared to balls like maybe 5-6 years ago. So especially when it comes to the baseballs in Japan, you can see some people from Japan when they come over that they're like very highly touted, and there's some who like Yu Darvish and the guy from the Dodgers that they got last year. I forgot his name on top of my head, but Yamamoto, and they have tremendous impact when they come to the majors. But you see some kind of struggle a little bit because it's not the same baseball, plus of course competition as well, but it does make an impact, and I never actually thought about it in the way you did when you brought up Shohei Ohtani about his surgery and everything. I never thought about it like that.
Sauce, is there anything you want to try to throw in there? If not, it's okay.
Absolutely not. Managing these boys to win some games so I can gamble. That's all.
Okay, so here's my little 2 cents. I'll put a timer so I make sure I'm not rambling. I don't believe Otani's injury was strictly from that transition into baseball. I also believe, looking at a lot of the way they throw, these guys aren't throwing 105 in Japan. A lot of them aren't throwing 105 here. I think God-given talent is God-given talent, and a lot of people that come from across seas to pitch from that sector move the ball more than anything. They have ridiculous type of arsenals that are throwing all type of different pitches, where people from, let's just say, the Afro-Latinos, I'm not trying to be funny, but they're the ones that are coming here with 3 pitches and really, really fast fastball, a really fast changeup, and some type of fastball that moves left or right. That's just their arsenal, right? So it's kind of, I think culture has more impact than culture, as in all of it, has more impact compared to pitching clock. I even throw pitching clock out there, or necessarily throwing a type of way. I think expecting someone from Japan to throw 103, 60 pitches is ridiculous, and of course that's going to cause problems. But you don't sign them for that reason alone. You sign them because they can throw a needle through a Cheerio, and they can move the ball from the top corner to the bottom corner. I think that's why you do that. Looking at Singal, looking at the guys with an S in LA, looking at Yu Darvish and them, and there's all over the league. Even the bro in Chicago, there's just all over that in the league. Transition to the next point. Speaking of the 2 people that are gonna be in the Japanese series, what are you expecting to see out of the series? And is that any type of depiction on what we'll see in the summertime, or what we'll see in October, or is this too early to tell? Matt, go first.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so the game's coming up, opening day, you know what I'm saying? Which is the series, Cubs, Dodgers in Japan. What are you expecting to see from that series? Are you expecting to see the Dodgers are picking right up where they left off? You start to see a little struggling. You starting to see the dominance of the pitching. What are you expecting to see in terms of the Cubs' new roster, Kyle Tucker? What are you expecting to see opening day?
When it comes to the Cubs, I haven't done so much research when it comes to them. Of course, Kyle Tucker, he's a big name whenever he got there. So it's one of those, like, you just know that. I don't know every single move they made, but the Cubs, to me, I feel like they're going to be a pretty good team, and they're going to make a pretty good run in the National League. But I feel like the opening they're gonna start off pretty rough. I I feel like they're gonna be a under 500 team or around 500 team maybe for the first month or two, and then start getting a little bit hot after that. Just I feel like just some people getting acclimated into the program because just moving like I don't know exact difference when it comes to weather and everything, but going from Houston, Chicago for like Kyle Tucker's standpoint, it might be a little different because Houston plays in an indoor while Chicago is typically always in an outdoor. So it might make a little difference. I don't know his stats when it comes to indoor versus outdoor, but he might start off a little slow. He'll still be good. Don't get me wrong, but he's not going to be where he's currently ranked top 5 in AL or NL MVP voting. But Yu Darvish, he's always been one of those that when he's hot, he's hot. When he's not, he's not. And I felt like he's going to struggle at first, but he'll get into it.
So Yu Darvish is in San Diego, but I respect your take.
Oh well, I heard you mention Yu Darvish's name. I was just like whenever we bring up the prompt, so I was just saying him in general. I didn't. Well, yeah, I remember he was in San Diego, but I can't remember if he got moved or not.
Yeah, Solomon.
I mean, it's baseball's tale of oldest time. I mean, pitching's always going to start out strong, and then hitters are going to start figuring it out, and that's why come the All-Star game, it's when you really get all those really good offensive performances. Obviously, there's going to be some pitchers who always have it throughout the year. That's why you have your Cy Young candidates and stuff like that. I think the matchup in Japan is good for baseball, right? Obviously, the Dodgers have the corner on the market for Japanese players, right? But the Cubs have pulled a couple. I think the opening day matchup between Yamamoto and Shota is interesting, to say the least. Shota had a good year. Like, it wasn't a bad year at the Cubs, but if you're just talking about those games and the matching up against the Dodgers, Cubs, they made some moves, but like they didn't really, to me, address their pitching needs, and I think that's really where the Cubs needed to address things. They really just swapped places in the outfield. Technically, they shipped Bellinger off to the Yankees, brought in Kyle Tucker. It's not like they got better; like they just didn't lose, right? Which is, I guess, what you want. The Cubs were almost there. They did technically still make the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. But like they need to do some stuff on the pitching side of things, and they can still do that come the trade deadline, but. I expect pitching to rule, right? You have Yamamoto game 1, you have Sasaki game 2. I mean, we're expecting great things out of both of them, to be fair. I don't think Steele matches up as well against Sasaki. But the Dodgers have been the Dodgers top 4 in the lineup have been tearing the ball off the cover, or tearing the cover off the ball in spring training, right? So like it doesn't look like they've missed a beat. Obviously, real game things could change. But it'll be fun. I'm glad baseball's back. I really am. But it's going to take a while for the hitters to kind of get their feet underneath them.
Hot take. Oh, whoopsie. Sorry. Okay, let's try it again. Hot take. They're playing in a dome. They're playing with juiced Japanese baseballs, Tokyo Dome to be exact. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they came out. Look, the Dodgers are a seasoned, solid team. I would not be surprised they came out and was just wow, breaking the bats off these fools' heads. We've looked across the last couple of years. I've seen teams put up 20 across these. So it's not a surprise for me if someone messed around and between these two teams within the next couple of days puts up a 15 ball. We get to see some serious bullpen work. I wouldn't be surprised. And I don't think I would dictate any of this as in what we will see in the summertime or in October. The Cubs is half a completely new roster playing in positions, right? And then the Dodgers are, quote unquote, the best team in baseball. So we're speaking best team in baseball as in starting rotation, as in defense, as in batting. I mean, we can talk about in several different sectors, management. So, I don't expect the Dodgers to win all 3. I just don't. They play 3 games or 2.
I think it's 2. I could be wrong though. I'll double check what you're talking.
Yeah. If it's 2 games, okay, Tuesday and Wednesday. So they play 2 games early in the morning for us. Tuesday and Wednesday, they could beat both. They could win both games. Okay. If it was 3 games, I don't know if I see them winning all 3. It was very interesting to see who would have been the third pitcher for the Dodgers if they would have rolled Ohtani out. That would have been pretty cool, but he probably won't pitch till a little later. I guess in terms of him pitching, we can bring that up as a next topic. Ohtani pitching. Say we got like 10 minutes left, guys. Ohtani pitching. What does that do for the Dodgers in terms of overall ranking? What do we got here? Does that make the Dodgers 1 by a long shot? Does it make them 1? But there's like 3 or 4 teams you would still put 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what I mean? Matt, go ahead.
I mean, if you look at the thing with the Dodgers is just they can have an injury and then they'll still always be up there. So I feel like automatically they're top 3, top 5 when it comes to their rotation. But having someone like Ohtani really boost them up. The whole thing with Ohtani, especially, is just they don't need to force it out of him. Like he doesn't, compared to him when he was in Los Angeles, he doesn't have to make every single start. They can rest him a little bit on some of his pitching days or give him a little extra few days. The thing with the Dodgers especially is they want Ohtani at their best. Their worry is not making the playoffs. Their worry is about being their best in the playoffs. So and I think that's how they set themselves up, is having a true top 5 unit with or without him.
Solomon?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. The Dodgers don't need Ohtani to pitch whatsoever. You're talking about a pitching rotation with Blake Snell, Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, Sasaki, Dustin May, and Kershaw, and Gonsolin. Like,
I mean, that's all right.
They have plenty of depth. You can run a 7-man rotation out there and still get days out of Shohei. Like, the Dodgers have set themselves up well where they don't put a lot of workload on his pitching. But at the end of the day, like, Shohei, I don't care what he does. If he hits, I'm happy. Like, that's if I'm a Dodgers fan, as long as he's hitting the way that he does, I could care less if he pitches. Right? Is he a great pitcher? Yeah, 100%. He has a 3.3 ERA flat career. Right, when he actually does pitch. Right, he's well above 500 in terms of win-loss ratio. Right, elite K to walk ratio. Right, fantastic pitcher. But the Dodgers don't need him to pitch to have success. Like, it doesn't necessarily make them elite. If he does, it doesn't. It's just fun for baseball. Watching Shohei pitch and hit is fun for viewers. It's going to bring viewership in. But in terms of, like, pushing the needle to make them exponentially greater than they are right now, it's not even a drop in the bucket. That team is so talented, it's crazy.
And just real quick, just for my NFL cats out there, it's like the equivalent, and you've heard it in the media, but it's like Travis Hunter. He's like, he can play offense, but you're really getting him for defense. Like, as long as he plays in defense, you'll play him a little bit on offense, but don't make it a necessity. Make his major need defense, and then offense is just a little sprinkle on the top. That's how I feel with Shohei. It's hitting is necessity, and pitching is sprinkle.
Yeah, that's a great point. And here's what I'll say: if we took 162 games, divided by a 5-man roster, right? That puts us at 32.4. Okay, 32.4 innings. Let's go 6 innings is quality starts.
5
it's 100. Is it 5?
No, 5 is what counts as an official start. 6 is quality. My bad.
So let's just go 5. So 32.4 times 5. You telling me Ohtani can't pitch 162 innings this year? But it's the Dodgers. It's the Dodgers. So let's do 162 divided by 7, between 7 guys. That's 23.14 times 5 innings. That's 115.7. That's 116 innings. Ohtani can definitely give you that. He definitely can. Without any type of injuries. So that's not that many at all. I don't believe that's that many at all. I mean, quality, that's starts games. 23, 20.
I mean, if you look at it, his career high in starts is 28. That was in 2022. On seasons that he was healthy, so 21, 22, and 23, his lowest start amount was 23.
Boom.
Right? So, like, it's doable. His most amount of innings pitched, the lowest, and only taking healthy seasons here, 130 innings, right? His most being 166 innings. Like, you get 100 innings out of Shohei, you're happy because you want him to be healthy for the offense because he makes the offense elite.
Yes.
You don't need him to make the pitching staff elite because it's already elite.
Absolutely. So, go ahead, Matt.
I was gonna say, well, the one big thing we do have to make sure of is because although we say he doesn't need to pitch, like of course he should pitch. We all know that, but his thing is, especially when he gets to playoffs, he needs to make sure he's not warm enough, but also just overall prepared to make sure he can be part of that pitching rotation for playoffs. Because let there be a world where they rest him too much and then he's cold.
I think to caveat off of, but kind of counter what Matt is saying is, I think Shohei will be a guy that they would bring out of the bullpen in the playoffs and not necessarily in the starting rotation. I think in the playoffs specifically, having Shohei come out and give you 3 innings in the playoffs is a dream. Like, that would be ideal. Even though he adds value as a starter, it'd be nice to have him in the starting rotation in the playoffs. That roster becomes exponentially difficult coming into the playoffs if he's coming in your 7th inning and giving you 3 innings, or coming in when a starter kind of falls short and he's giving you 5 through 8, or like whatever the case is. Like, that adds a different dynamic to the Dodgers than him starting a game and having someone like Glasnow or Snell come out of the pen, who guys are good, elite, but it's not something that they're used to. Whereas I think Shohei is willing to kind of do anything that you ask him.
Here's what I'll say about that. I think I agree with your take to a degree, but let me spin something real quick. When you're in the bullpen, before you come out, when you're at the stands, what do you hear? Him warming up. So you're telling me if the next inning before he's supposed to be warming up, he's going to bat, that's not going to work. As a starter, you're starting the game pitching. And if he comes here and he's what? Let's just say he's 11-2 starting, 10-1 starting. You're pitching the World Series. You might give me one game, but you're pitching the World Series. That just give me 5 innings or whatever. Shit, I'll start you game 1 and we'll go from there. But Ohtani is there for bats. We're not talking about SGA. The SGA Jokic argument where it's like you take one away, how far do they drop? You take Ohtani away, the Dodgers don't skip a beat. They're still making playoffs. I think they're better than like every team, but maybe 3 teams in the NL. But I mean, there's no one arguable. You can't even argue a team that's close with Ohtani on their roster batting.
Braves healthy would be the closest thing, and it's still tough. That's a tough 7-game series.
Absolutely. So I mean, you're looking at a little bit of coincidence and a little bit of convenience on how you'll beat the Dodgers. But take the Dodgers out, and you got Phillies, Mets, Braves. There is some baseball out there to be played in that league. Who do you got for maybe a sleeper? But if hell and high water, the Dodgers don't make it, who else is coming out of that side, Matt?
I mean, one team I always have to think about is the Braves. Mm-hmm. I know Acuna, he's going to be missing some time and everything, but if he could come hot. Who's the cat they got? Michael Harris. Michael Harris, thank you. But like he's going to be putting in a lot of work. He's going to have to do a lot of the heavy duty work and get the backpack on him to help push this team. Now, are they a perfect team? No, but they're a team that they're hot and they get it going, especially with some of their pitchers and everything, that they can make some moves and get some consecutive wins. And of course, you can also bring up the Padres because you could never doubt like Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado, and all of them. But I always like the Braves.
Yeah, Solomon.
National League is really tough because when you take the Dodgers out of the equation, the next 3 clear favorite teams are all in the same freaking division. You got the Phillies, Braves, and Mets, right? Clear favorites, right? Which means that they're going to eat each other alive throughout the entire season, which is why it's always tough to pick one of them. I think someone that I'm really interested in seeing and watching perform, because they weren't a team that anybody picked to have a good year last year, and all of a sudden, an elite baseball team, young, dynamic, won games, nobody expected it, the Brewers. the Brewers could be a team that you could see that rising moment, right? Maybe they go to the NLCS, but that's someone I think is a good favorite. Obviously, the Mets adding Soto, strong team. Braves healthy. You get Strider back on the back end of the season. I don't know if he's supposed to. I think he is supposed to come back sometime late May. Acuna obviously supposed to come back. It's still a great team, good pitching staff, right? The Phillies, for me, have too many question marks. They've had the same rotation, and we talked about them having the best rotation, one of the best rotations in baseball. And they won 95 games last year, stunk it up in the playoffs. The offense is basically the same thing. Are they going to be a great regular season team? Yes. But this is the same story with the Phillies every year is, are they going to perform in the postseason, right? I don't know. I think the Brewers could have an easy road. The NL East is going to eat each other alive. I like the Padres. I really do. I love watching Fernando Tatis play baseball. I really, really do. It is exciting. But the Padres are always going to be a little better than the Dodgers. It's just, there's not a world where that Padres roster can win that division unless the entire Dodgers roster implodes. It would have to be some crazy meltdown in LA. It's just, it's hard. It's not a conversation. There's a conversation in the American League. There's not really a conversation in the National League. Yeah, take the Dodgers out, sure. But even at that point, it's a coin toss for everybody else.
Yeah, I like the coin toss debate, and this is where I think baseball has improved so much that any other league right now has not. Look, you went from some teams not being able to play others, and that was a problem in the MLB that the NBA had. Okay, the NBA, every team played every team, and it was less division games. MLB said, you know what? We like that idea. Let's restructure our game to where everybody plays everybody. And where are we taking those games from? Division games. So we're going to have the Phillies and the Mets and the Braves all not beating up on each other as much in terms of record and games played, which results in all three of them probably again making the playoffs next year. And so it's beautiful to see that there's going to be this up, down, up where we think the beginning of the season, baseball's cutting the trimesters for me because that's the time the ball moves differently. Right now, when it gets hot and then when it gets cold, that's just the truth. Okay, so we're looking at that right now. The Phillies have a lot of question marks across the board. I feel like the Mets have a lot of question marks in terms of pitching, and the Braves with Jurickson Profar coming from the Padres have a lot of question marks in terms of meshing and staying healthy. Because man, if they can stay healthy, they have the replacements that they've made where they won't skip a beat in terms of that team. It's just staying healthy.
On both sides, National League and American League, you had 9 teams of the 15 that are above 500. And of the other 6 that didn't make it, the Giants missed out on being above 500 by 3 games. Right. In the National League and the American League, you're looking at 9 teams again. 4 of those 9 teams, though, all came out of the American League Central. All of them were above 500, other than the really, 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 really bad White Sox, right? And then the American League West was a wash. I mean, you had 2 teams above 500.
That was a tank. And that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen this year. I expect a bounce back from the Diamonds. I expect the Rangers to win 80 games, maybe 84. I expect a much better performance out of that division. I expect the A's to perform better because they're not playing for a franchise that is just looking to soil, right?
They have young talent that is really good. There's sure, do they have the pitching depth? I don't know, but in terms of offense, we've seen some really, really good offensive A's teams that have made the wild card. We've seen the A's, when they have those teams, trade for a pitcher at the deadline, pushes them over the edge. John Lester got them to a wild card. Did they win that wild card? No. But John Lester got them there, right? And it was electric. It was electric. It was an awesome time, right? I think the A's definitely be better. Rangers have to stay healthy for me in that division. If the Rangers stay healthy, it's a very, very interesting division. Angels, forget about that.
Laughing stock.
They're doomed. The Mariners, I think for me, is a question mark because they have arguably one of the best pitching in the and they did nothing to improve their offense. It's all going to rely on J-Rod to do everything for that team, right? Do they have some pop with Cal Riley? Sure. Do they have some guys? Yes. but they have guys that can win in the playoffs. I just don't see it happening. And when you have guys, you have a 5-man rotation who arguably could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in Cy Young voting. Like, why are you not getting them offense? Because you're talking about, if those guys are all Cy Young candidates, you're talking about you need 3 to 4 runs a game, assuming that your starting pitching is locked down. Right, you're telling me you can't go and find guys that can do that? There are plenty of guys out there that can do it. I mean, why not go get JD Martinez? Like, heck with it. He's cheap. He gives you a right-handed bat. He's not going to cost you a lot. Is he old? Yeah, sure. He's just going to DH anyway. It's not like the Mariners are hurting to have a DH. Like, they need something. They need a bat. They haven't done it yet, so there's an issue there. The Astros could fall off a little bit. I don't know. Hunter Brown's amazing. They have a really good pitching staff. Altuve's going to be playing in left. You still have Pena. They have some questions in their outfield for sure. Their infield's not bad. They got Paredes in a trade too. Like, there's some options there. They're going to be competitive. I just don't know if we're going to see like.
What's your Don Alvarez's contract? I think he's going to get moved soon.
He has.
And why you're looking that up? I definitely think the Mariners have 3 of the top 5 in AL Cy Young, but to not mention them boys in Detroit is blasphemous. Them boys can pitch. Them boys can pitch. I feel like they're like the Cleveland Cavaliers of MLB for sure in terms of like earn the respect. We're not going to give it to you, and they definitely will. So I wouldn't count them out for a lick of nothing.
Jordan will be a free agent in 2028.
There you go. So you're looking at a trading now would be what, a 2-year rental, and that's not that much money you'd be getting from. Yeah,
2.5 technically.
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah. I see him on the move. I see Houston. I don't know, man. I don't think I'm just not convinced. Matt, anything you want to throw on top of that?
Pretty much hit the points. Houston's kind of just, hey, no, as a Ranger fan, I'm just kind of happy to see it that they're slowly making their way backwards, giving us a chance to try to win division. Yeah, was it nice when we won the World Series? Absolutely. I would never take anything away from that. But honestly, just winning the division will feel so good again. So I wouldn't mind Astros downfall for a little bit.
Yeah.
And if I, by any chance, my computer is running low.
Oh, no, so we're about to close up right now. We've been on for quite a while. This is the longest episode we had so far. Sauce, start us off. 2 minutes on the clock. Talk about what you want to talk about, and let's get out of here.
Listen, man, I want to talk about something we really haven't talked about since I've been on here, and that's god dang on March Madness. It's that time. All right. A lot of these teams, they just wrapped up their conference championships, and a lot of these teams are looking fraud, man, going into the tourney. Auburn's looking fraud, all right, really badly too. I saw when they played Texas A&M, and I realized that Auburn's not good when they play teams with great guard play. They're not good. They get exposed. I think Houston and Florida make a very good run in the tournament, although Florida just bested them. Alabama. Florida bested Alabama, but I think Houston is
that was a blowout.
Team. But yeah, it was bad. It was very bad. But I think we all know UConn's not making another trip down there to win anything. It's not going to happen. I think it comes out to Duke, Florida, and Houston. But I do think Florida has the advantage over those two teams, although Cooper Flag is hurt right now, and that Duke gave up a dang near 30-point lead to UNC the other night. It was crazy, insane. But yeah, man, I just really want to. I'm gonna keep on looking into that NCAA because it's getting down to the wire coming up in the next 2-3 weeks.
You still got 20 seconds. You want to go for anything?
That's really it, man. I do think best player in college basketball today is still Cooper Flag. What is his name? Ace Bailey. He's a close second, but Cooper Flag is obviously the best player in college basketball right now.
Any other topics you want to talk about? You still got time. I don't want to cut you off. I mean, if you're done, you're done.
For Purdue, man, if in terms of bigs, I think people need to watch out for Purdue's big. I don't think he shoots the free throws very well and doesn't shoot the ball well, but that post work is phenomenal. If you watch him in his drop steps and back to the basket play, the dude is leading the NCAA in points scored in the paint, and he's a force to be reckoned with down there.
Time. Good timing. That was 2 minutes on the dot. Matt?
curious about the Dallas Mavericks' general direction they're going to be heading into. This offseason is going to be very telling what the future is going to represent. Obviously, I feel like there is part tanking when it comes to the Mavericks season, when the aspect of shutting down Kyrie, which obviously he had to be shut down, but for officially shutting down AD and some of these other cats. And then there's the whole little rumor thing about potentially having to forfeit games because of injury and cap not violations, but just having to get all these people coming in to get playing time. You run out of money eventually. So it's just
No.
just
No. I should
Did we
let
lose
him go
Matt?
Can
first.
you?
I should let him go
Hey,
first. I should let him go
I
first,
don't
man.
want I don't want to interrupt anybody's thing, but breaking news! The Bengals have signed.
Say that.
Bengals have signed T. Higgins to a 4-year deal, $115 million. Jamar Chase got an extension, and
Oh
that's
man.
huge. For
Oh man. Well,
going from franchise tag to $115 million. Jesus.
man, them boys got paid.
The boys got paid.
Them boys definitely got paid.
They deserve
Solomon.
Well, I was going to talk about that signing, but got me beat to it. But I'll talk about baseball. I mean, I'm stoked for baseball to be back. It's been 3 months, but it felt like forever. Red Sox have done something dangerous to all Red Sox fans, giving us hope that we could be good. And I'm sure we'll get our hearts crushed per usual. That's, on par for being a Red Sox fan. That division's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun to be interested to see how the new schedule plays out. But Yankees are vulnerable. Orioles are vulnerable. Rays suck. I don't know what the Blue Jays are going to do. But baseball's back. I mean, I think the division, obviously I watch more Red Sox games than anything else when it comes to baseball. But the division I'm going to keep my eye on the most is that American League Central for sure. We got a bunch of young teams that are balling out. I mean, that division was crazy last year. Separated by 10 games between first and fourth between all those teams. It's going to be a really talented year. I think Cleveland lost a little bit. Yeah, the Royals are going to be good. Tigers are good. Twins playing in their ballpark are always going to be fun to watch. They have some really good offense there. I'm sure they got some stuff on the pitching side of things that I think they need to address. But baseball's back. It's going to be fun. It'll be fun to watch the highlights of the Tokyo series because I'm not waking up at 5 o'clock to watch those games. But it'll be interesting to see. I got a bunch of fantasy stuff I got to get done. Got my dynasty team I got to keep track of. So, baseball's back. Obviously, Celtics playoffs coming around soon, so that'll keep my attention up. Bruins have torn my heart out again this year, so I don't think I'll be watching much of NHL playoffs, but probably catch a game here or there. But it's a good time to be in Boston for sure. It's a great time for sports. It's always is a great time no matter what they do. But hopefully another ring for the Celtics and playoff push for the Red Sox.
Yeah, about 10 seconds. Anything you want to throw there?
Nah, it's all you.
Oh, well, man. Thank you guys for coming to the show. It was a very interesting show, a very long show. Apologies for the length. But we got a lot to talk about. And upcoming episodes is not going to be as what we normally do. NBA, NFL. We're going to grab into some baseball. We're going to grab into some March Madness. If anyone's interested in joining the show as a guest, if anyone's interested in jumping on the team, hey, man, GT Radio 12 is every format, every social media. Send us a message. We'll talk with the guys, and we'll figure out if you're fit for the squad or not. Thank you all for showing. Thank you for the comments today. And Solomon Sauce, thank you for sticking to the end. We out.
Yes, sir.